Well, the Avowed reviews are here, and they're not bad, but they're not great either. I had predicted before Avowed released and the embargo dropped, I said it was going to be in the mid to low 80s, and it's landing right around 80 almost exactly. It's sort of fluctuating from 80 to 81 on Metacritic, 80 to 81 on OpenCritic. Both PC and Xbox, you can see here, are showing 80s on Metacritic. It was 79, then 81, then back down. And then we go over here to OpenCritic, same story. So we're going to be looking at some of the reviews. I try to go to the reviews that are really low and the reviews that are really, really high, and I try to give you guys a glimpse into sort of where the game is landing so that you can make a decision as a consumer. I will be playing Avowed today on my Xbox Series X. We'll be testing out the Avowed 60 FPS performance mode. We'll be testing Avowed third-person gameplay because those are kind of the big things I was looking for. Now, we are hearing some of the RPG elements aren't hitting as strongly as some of the people had hoped. Even people that were really looking forward to the game are not heaping on the glowing praise. So I'm a little disappointed for the team. I wasn't super interested in this game, but we had community members that were really looking forward to it. And so I'm hoping that they can enjoy it. I hope they consider this to be a win. I was kind of worried. All of the vibes I got from this game was it had gotten kind of pushed into a position in the year where it would sort of land as more of a bit of a dud, not like an absolute banger. Indiana Jones obviously scored very, very well for them, and then I felt like Avowed kind of got pushed because it wasn't going to land as strongly. Now, if you're watching this later, I'm going to do my best to keep this on topic for at least the first 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. It's going to be really hard to only talk about Avowed for very long because there's a lot of other things going on. There was the PlayStation State of Play last night. There is reactions all over the place about that. There was the earnings now coming in from PlayStation, as I predicted, looking great, even though everybody claims that PlayStation's failing and is dead and is on the way out and losing, and because everybody bases everything on state of plays and showcases and roadmaps and first party. So we probably are not going to be able to stay on Avowed for very long, but I'm going to do my best. If you guys are in the live audience right now, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Get us off to a really, really strong start. And as always, if you're watching this later, one of the greatest ways you can support this channel is by showing up every day. So make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell button. And then I will gift a member when we hit those super chat goals. We also have member goals. If you've never supported a channel directly with the membership on YouTube before, you can try it out here. Click that join button. And for $6 a month, you get into all my content. Just make sure you pick Member Plus and not the $5. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with, lower scores. We're going to kind of see why this thing is sort of falling down on total score, which, again, I find to be pretty disappointing. And I do want to make sure that we have the member count in this scene with me. That way we can be adding to it while we are doing this. So I'm going to throw it down here in the corner. Thank you so much. There it is. Han shot first, and so did you. Dylan dropping the first member of the day to 503. We have a big, huge stretch goal today by Charles Freeman himself. He'll drop a 50 bomb, and so will I. We'll gift that many members if we hit 650. So Avowed review, Too Close to the Sun, and this is coming from GameSpot. Their impactful and satisfying combat is undone by a widely unbalanced upgrade system and an uninteresting story that wastes potential. Now, I'm seeing this in other places. I'm seeing issues with the upgrade system, the balance. I saw other reviews mentioning this. So what I'm going to do to make this really, really easy for you as the viewer, if you're watching later or you're here right now, I'm going to go down to their conclusions because reading through all these reviews is just a bit much. I'm going to try to give you a better, just a quick snapshot here in like the first 10 minutes of the broadcast. That way you can kind of get in and get out. Yes, hearing that Matty Plays was not happy with this game is really discouraging because I know he was really looking forward to this. Big Pillars fan over there with Matty Plays. And so they're saying here the good. Combat is impactful and satisfying with numerous weapons to try and experiment with. Now, this excites me because that was one of the main things I was looking for, is I wanted the combat to feel good. I'm curious what it feels like in third person, especially. Never been a big fan of first-person melee combat. And they say here, visually inviting areas to explore with engaging platforming that lets you exploit their verticality. And John Linneman from Digital Foundry, I'm seeing saying here that it is a gorgeous game. The world is gorgeous. It runs pretty darn well. And the gameplay writing is absolutely wonderful. I genuinely expected very little from it, but I love it. So it seems like maybe if you go in with a little bit lower expectations, you might end up enjoying it quite a bit more. John Linneman heaping on glowing praise there. Choices and their consequences manifest in surprising but natural ways. So there's the good according to GameSpot. Now again, they gave it a 6, which to them is a fair score. We know that generally when you see a 6 out of 10, that's not a ringing endorsement. So I don't see 6s and think that that's a game I want to play. So this is the lower scores we're seeing. I'm seeing a lot of 6s and 60s out there. Here's the bad. They say reliance on gear upgrades to keep up with enemy scaling is incredibly unbalanced and frustrating. Now, the good news about this is this could be patched. This doesn't seem like an endemic problem that cannot be rectified. I would say they could patch this and figure out what's going on to make somebody say this. This also could be a mistake that somebody made, right? I remember seeing complaints about Hogwarts, and it was somebody who didn't understand how the spell system worked. There was like 17 spells to choose from or something like halfway through the game, and they were saying that they only could use one spell. Now, they say straightforward and uninteresting narrative that doesn't offer interesting surprises. Companions are largely forgettable. Joker Quinn gifts a member and helps us move that member count a little bit further to that stretch goal where Charles Freeman himself will drop a 50 bomb. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. It defeats the purpose of making your character strong because the game will adjust enemies to your level. I hate that. Oh, so the enemy scaling is the complaint there, is what you're saying. Okay. All right. Well, okay, so this was a lower score. Now, the Gamer also gave it a not great score, and let's see what they have to say. All the way down here, and I forget what their score, I think their score was like a 65 or something like that on Metacritic. They said, pros, okay, limited jank. Now, we know, despite warnings from the director, right? I did, however, read another review that we'll get to in a minute that did say there are some issues and some bugs, but they're saying the jank's actually limited, varied approach to combat, and a long time, if not always, a good time. Now, they say shallow characterization and narrative. Okay, so they seem to be agreeing with the one that we just read. Disappointing lack of choice beneath the veneer of roleplay. I've actually seen a handful of the reviews talk about this. I think that the fans of the franchise are going to be disappointed by this particular reality, that there's just not a lot of genuine choice. Side quests are far too simplistic. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with y'all. In a strange turn of events, the fact that people are praising the combat, but then they're saying this about the RPG elements, that actually speaks to me as a more casual gamer. I'm like, oh, that sounds like I might really enjoy this game. So, in a strange turn of events, what I'm hearing is probably not great news for the people that were really looking forward to this game as a fan of like Pillars of Eternity. But as a more casual dad gamer, I'm like, well, this actually sounds like I might enjoy this. So we'll see. We'll be playing it later today. And here's Windows Central. Zachary Body gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Now, keep in mind, this registers as an 80 on Metacritic. So if you think 80 is not strong enough, 4 out of 5 is pretty good. I mean, you got to remember, sometimes the Metacritic aggregate's not directly representing what someone has said. So let's go down here and see what Zachary said in his conclusion. And he says, Zachary, they say, I saw the picture and thought maybe I had made a mistake. Sorry to Zachary. The newest franchise from Obsidian Entertainment returns us to the world of another, this time from an all-new perspective. Avowed is a gorgeous fantasy RPG that makes both combat and exploration endlessly fun, and its main story is actually interesting enough to keep you hooked. There are still some cracks to fill, and Avowed isn't setting any new standards for RPGs, but it's a great game nonetheless. So they're actually describing this as a great game. Thank you for the $5 super chat, PWHtown. Avowed equals good enough for Game Pass. Shake my head. Thank you so much, PWHtown. Pull a bar. Yeah, I gotta do push-ups. I'm sorry. I thought this one had a pros and cons list. Am I imagining things? I thought there was a pros and cons list for this. Oh, is it further up? Hang on. Yeah, it's right here. I'm sorry. Okay, so from Zachary here, they say that the Living Lands is a beautiful, diverse place that's a joy to explore. Combat is easy to grasp and provides a ton of variety. Characters, world building, and even the story are all engaging. There's a lot to see if you take the time to look for it. Now, here's where we're getting some conflicting information just a teeny bit, right? Ooh, I like that one better. I will say, Omar, I wonder if we need to go, can we go with maybe, I think the white outline hurts against the green. I don't think it looks good. I wonder if we just need to make the letters thicker in general, like make the stroke just the same color as that green. Performance can dip in some areas, and bugs are still present. This is obviously going to get a lot of frustration from people if they are if they're saying, hey, you know, they said there was going to be jank, right? And here's the jank. Players' influence outside of quests can feel limited. Character progression can feel a little slow. So here again, trying to make it pop when it's smaller. The problem with the stroke like that on smaller letters is it ends up actually looking hard. It makes it harder to read, in my opinion. I wonder if you would make the text thicker and then put a black stroke on it instead of white. So this, again, is something that we're hearing, you know, about the RPG elements and player choice. So, guys, do me a really quick favor as you pile in. We're only 11 minutes into the stream. We're doing a bit of a review rundown, Avowed review rundown for you. Smash the like button as you come in. Go through that ritual so we can get to... Let's set our sights on 200 likes right now. We're sort of doing a flyover here. Windows Central gave it an 80%, a 4 out of 5 stars, and then we had low scores from the Gamer and GameSpot. So now we're kind of going up in score to see what the other outlets are saying. So Checkpoint Gaming, we've just been kind of scrolling to the bottom. Okay, so they really liked it. Okay, they gave it a 9.5. And yes, we do have an Xbox better emote. Yes, for all of you guys that want to make sure that everybody knows that Xbox is better. A 9.5, they call it amazing. And here's what they have to say. Thrilling narrative with choices that matter. Wonderful, well-written companions. Combat that can be tailored to your style. High production values with stunning visuals and audio. Satisfying pacing with smart quality of life features. This seems to be something that the more critical reviews are disagreeing with about the pacing and the scaling. Negative. Focus on equipment progression can be frustrating. I feel like that's a slight contradiction, right? This feels like a slight contradiction to this up here. If the pacing is satisfying with smart quality of life features, this seems to be a little bit of a rough edge on that reality. So everything else, though, high production value, stunning visuals, combat can be tailored to your style. That sounds great. Wonderful, well-written companions. Some people said that the companions are forgettable, but if they're well-written, I suppose that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not forgettable. Paris gave it a 9.5. Really? Hang on 1 second. It's just the font is funnier, kind of hard to read with the white border. Yeah, that's why I think we just need to make the font bigger. You might be able to just get away with just a white font, honestly. Well, then people on a white background might not work. Okay, so Screen Rant also liked it. Screen Rant was another outlet that gave it a good score. Let's take a look here. All the way down. Okay, so they only have one con here. Then Screen Rant gave it a 9 out of 10. Strong score here from Screen Rant. Incredible character writing and world building. Choices are complex and difficult to make with consequences felt within the game world. So we're having some disagreement. Here. We have some outlets saying there are like no consequences to your choices, and then we have people saying that there are consequences. Guys, do me a quick favor. Make sure it is saving your like button. That has been acting kind of funky lately. Let's make sure. Let's hit that 200 likes super fast. That is extremely helpful to what we do here every single day. So thank you everybody who has already pressed the like button. Just make sure it is in fact saving your likes. They say here segmented regions pair well with many other systems to give Avowed tight episodic structure. Exploration is interesting and the game world visually stunning. Combat isn't especially deep. Now there's been other people saying that the combat is enjoyable and deep. So I don't know. I think some of this is subjective, obviously. So you're going to have to kind of maybe make your own judgments. You're going to have to make your own judgment because some people are saying that the choices are great and the combat is bad. And then others are saying the combat's great and the choices don't matter. Like, we're getting a little bit of a mixed bag here. Xbox Era gave it an 88. So let's see what they say. Yes, there is a 60 FPS and more, 60 FPS mode and more. The 60 FPS mode loses ray tracing and appears to have lower lighting, shadow, and level of detail settings. I primarily played the Xbox Series X version at an unlocked 40. It looked cleaner and higher quality than the 60 FPS mode. Okay, so they preferred the 40 mode. All right, let's keep scrolling down here. Okay, here we go. And this is from Klob. If you guys are not familiar with Klob puts together like those infographics and stuff on Twitter. And was in that Discord. So, hey, you know, looks like it pays to be a part of stuff like that. You got a review copy here. Engaging varied combat with smart AI at its core. So here's another person saying that the combat is good. Rewarding exploration through parkour, verticality, and skills. Visually stunning, especially on a high-end PC. This is agreeing. Digital Foundry's John Linneman is agreeing with this as well. Diverse build customization, well-written dialogues, meaningful consequences, and solid quest design. Highly customizable HUD, accessibility, difficulty, FOV controls, and combat. Well, that's good. Companions play a great role throughout the game. Somebody said the companions were forgettable, but other people have praised the companions. Okay, itemization systems and world reactivity could be deeper. Some graphical inconsistencies, shadow noise issues on console at 60 FPS. Experience 2 buggy side quests. Okay, his verdict. Oh, I'm sorry, 86. I thought he gave it an 88. So he gave it an 86, 8.6. Avowed delivers a classic core RPG experience, showcasing Obsidian's signature strengths while incorporating valuable lessons from Grounded and drawing clear design and system parallels from Outer Worlds. The game refines and expands these elements, offering a slightly larger scope and enhanced overall quality, in particular with world building and combat. Although Avowed may lack moments of grand spectacle, its thoughtfully crafted level design encourages exploration and discovery, giving the player the feeling of progression and success with every hidden treasure. And then a challenging and diverse combat system combined with a compelling narrative and well-developed, believable companions come together to create a rich and satisfying fantasy RPG experience. Now, I told you guys yesterday, we read his tweet. Klob had a tweet about, you know, his experience reviewing it or whatever, and I told you that it really felt like he was anticipating a more tepid response to the game. At least that's the way I read it. It read like he was anticipating people being a little bit tepid. I don't think that's a PNG. Is that a transparent PNG? Hang on. Save image as. Oh, it is. Okay, Xbox better. All right, let me update that emote for you guys. We'll be looking at some more of the reviews this morning. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. We need 30 more likes. Get me to 200 likes. Keep it going. And if you've never done a membership before, you're going to get some amazing perks today, like an emoji that says Xbox is better. You couldn't ask for a better emote than this. So it'll update here shortly, and should look a little bit better there in the live chat for you guys. Thank you, Omar, for taking care of that for us. Harris gave the game a 9.5, so the game is Breath of the Wild level. I mean, let's, you know what I think will work? Omar? I would try white text with the black stroke, with the guy. Yeah, let's try white text with the black stroke. I think the green is what we're just really losing the green at that size for some reason. Either white or yellow. White or yellow text I think will work well with the black stroke and the guy. I think the guy really adds to it. Okay, let's double check. Okay, so we're still holding at an 81 on OpenCritic, and we're holding to an 80 on Xbox. It has now dipped on PC to 79. So Yeah, the color is tough. Yeah, I think white or yellow will pop because anybody on dark mode, it just looks gross on dark mode. Like, I can't see. So there you go. Curious what you guys think. We're only about 18 minutes into the broadcast. So where did you think Avowed was going to land? Does this sort of deter you from jumping in? Does this make you, it's right where I thought it would be? This is the second game that this year I've pretty much bullseyed the score. I said that Kingdom Come would be high 80s, low 90s, and that's right where it landed. And I said Avowed would be mid to low 80s. And man, it's landing right on 80, which that's actually a little bit lower than I predicted. I was padding a little, because I don't want everybody just thinking like I'm just out here hating. It's like I always get accused of that. And it's like, I have people in this community that were really looking forward to this game. Like, it just didn't interest me, and I didn't get good vibes from it, Jake says, looks great, going to play it later today. I'm telling you, the funniest development in all of this, is that it actually sounds like I'm going to enjoy it more than maybe some of the longtime fans. Like, the way that they're describing it, I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to enjoy this a lot more than maybe some of y'all that were really looking forward to it. It sounds like the combat's enjoyable. It sounds like the RPG elements are a little bit more subdued and simplistic. And I'm like, that's kind of my jam, if I'm honest with you. Donnie says, where I thought based on the jank previews, but still a low score. If this was a PlayStation first party, people would be losing their... Does it have co-op? That's always the question, Zubair. Right? Blue background, PlayStation channel, I guess. That's exactly right. The combat is mid, I saw. Even the reviews that weren't that strong were saying that the combat was enjoyable. So I'm going to check it out today. Early access opens in like 2.5 hours. So I'm going to be diving in today. Keep it here. Keep it going. Let's have a strong day. We can still have, great discussions while we wait on the game to open up. And then you'll see my live reaction to it on an Xbox Series X. And do me a favor. Hit the $sign at the bottom of the chat. If you hit that little dollar button, you may have a membership renewal to celebrate, and you can help us hit this goal. Charles Freeman's going to gift 50 members, and so am I. If we can hit 650 today, that's very generous of him. And if you're at Member Plus or VIP, it helps count. If you want to really help, you can upgrade to VIP or Member Plus, or sign up brand new for VIP and Member Plus. Those count as 2, and you can help us with this great fun goal. And if you're looking for something to do on Valentine's Day, there will be a Friday night stream for you guys. My wife and I typically don't do anything for Valentine's Day. We have regular dates and prefer that over like doing something arbitrary because of the holiday. So there we go. There's some renewals. WGC with 15 months says, I said Avowed would be low 80s. I guess there are those that wanted more from the Pillars community. I just hope it got a lot of choice and freedom. Rockin' Robin with 30 months in a VIP. Stargate with 27 months and a Member Plus. All of those count towards the total because they're at Member Plus or above, and that takes us to 507. What did Kevin George say? Somebody says, bro. What did Kevin George say? Did he make a joke? He's been pretty funny lately. I don't want to miss out on a good joke. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, I can't find him. Oh, there he is. It's helping the game get those high scores. Oh, stop it. Drip with 9 months says, happy Valentine's Day. Drip, if you want your renewal to count, upgrade to Member Plus. It's $1 more. Ant with 42 months in a VIP bumps the line to 508. Thank you so much, Ant. And then the Spy Who Swags, 27 months. I've been a sub since Twitch and Destiny Q&A. The channel's definitely evolved into something great. Thank you, Spy Who Swags. Again, bump up to Member Plus because I can't tell the difference between gifteds and people paying. And that's why we have Member Plus for $6 instead of $5. So then I can tell the difference. You get more content. You get a segment every day called The Green Room. And that's like a behind-the-scenes look at how we plan things. And then Donnie's going to gift a member and bump the line to 509. Thank you so much, Donnie. Appreciate you, dude. Hopefully you've, managed to, scrape away from Diablo a little bit to spend some time hanging out in places like this. Kevin George's homie. He makes me laugh all the time. Yeah. He's one of the funny ones here. Super hype for Saros. Me too. Oh my gosh, I lost my dadgum mind. I almost hurt my voice screaming. And a $5 super chat tip from Cat Uncle says, is Avowed a game me and my 50 gym buddies worth selling our PS5s? I don't know, Cat Uncle. And a gifted member from PWH Sound. Good to see you in chat, Brian King. gets us to 510. We're 15 away from the next. Xbox better? Yeah, the yellow one. That yellow one's the winner, I bet. I bet you that's going to look great. Save the image. There we go. All right, let me give you guys an updated version of that emote. It should pop a little bit better with the yellow. I can usually tell on the back end of the platform as well. Yeah. That's going to look good. Ala Park with 30 months, getting into the busy season for me. Full work and lurk. Enjoy Avowed today. Thank you so much. And that bumps the member count on the week to 511. And thank you to everybody who has been upgrading your memberships to VIP or to Member Plus. That count continues to slowly creep towards 600. It's at 574. That is the closest we have ever been. To the 600 goal that we have right now. And Rockin' Robin's going to get 5 members and get us to 516. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin, inching us closer to that goal for the week. It says here that Dirge of Spartacus left a message on Morning Coffee, and I can't see it. So I'm not sure what you tried to say, Dirge. I'm unable to see it. So I got my wish. We got a GTA 6 trailer. It's called Mind's Eye. Avowed will come to PlayStation later this year. Yeah, word from article today from Jez Corden over there at Windows Central, making it pretty clear that we are about to see more games coming to PlayStation, and Avowed's probably one of them. I don't know about this year. Yeah, the yellow looks really good for Xbox better. Verdict on Avowed is like a solid 80 pretty much everywhere. Metacritic, OpenCritic. It honestly sounds like it's going to appeal more to me than the people that were looking forward to it. I don't know. The reviews are saying that like the combat's fun, choices are not as good as they wanted them to be. Like the RPG elements seem like they're not as great, and there's like a thing with enemy scaling that's frustrating people. Oh, verdict on the yellow. Yeah, it seems like people like the yellow. Looks good. Xbox better. It is. It is so much better. I also wonder if part of the problem is the font, though, Omar. I wonder if we did the yellow and you used the same font that you used on I Knew It. Right? I wonder if that's part of the problem, too. Like, you're trying to use an on-brand font, but that's just getting lost in the emote size. Kevin George says, that's what makes me think they are given a list of comments and told to pick as many as 5 pros and as few as 1 cons. If you expect nothing, you'll never be disappointed. This is true. Lona, are you doing a playthrough today? Yes, I will be playing Avowed gameplay today. We did an Avowed review roundup. We've been looking at the Metacritic and the OpenCritic kind of interchanging here. It's basically landing square on the 80 mark. 81 here after 90, 56 here is 80, and then PC's is 79. So basically, it's right on the 80. I mean, that's just basically where it's landing. It's worth with spacing in a square too. Yeah, I think those lines are hurting it though. Like the lines through the B, the E, and the B and the E and the R. It's like it's making it a little blurry. I think the font for I Knew It looks it's like crisp because like the letters are just strong and not touching each other. I watched several reaction videos to the state of play and everyone is sleeping on A Mind's Eye. I'm going to say this, Christopher Burnett. Mind's Eye was one of the weakest showings last night, and it's because I don't believe the gameplay. Something was off with the gameplay. It looked like that simulated gameplay that isn't real. I don't know. There was something with the fire, the explosions, the gunplay. I didn't trust that gameplay. I've watched gameplay reveals for a really long time, and when they show like a trailer, and then some guy like talks, and he's like, hey, enjoy this gameplay showcase, you usually get like uncut gameplay. And instead, it was just a bunch of really quick clips. About half of the clips were from the trailer. And I'm like, I don't think this is gameplay. I don't. It did not sit well with me. The running looked weird. The running looked disconnected from how fast the world moved around him. The explosions did not look like they were actually happening in real time. It all looked very fake, rendered, and simulated. And whenever somebody says, check out this gameplay, and they don't have like uncut gameplay, it's just a bunch of really quick clips, and you don't let me see the guy transition from one position to the next, I'm extremely suspicious. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. And a $5 super chat tip from PWH Sound. Lono, can we get a poll for how long it's going to take you to be out of Avowed during the playthrough? You can take bets. You can take bets when I'm playing, maybe. I don't know. PSA is getting 11 minutes of gameplay today. Oh, yeah, Tides of Annihilation. Yeah. Tides of Annihilation looked freaking sick. We made it 30 minutes, and we're already off of Avowed. It's okay. I told y'all. I was like, we're going to have a really hard time staying on just Avowed after everything that's been going on. It didn't look good because it's the Saints Row engine. Check out the city they showed. It's straight out of the latest Saints Row. Yeah, it didn't look good. I thought the weakest showings were Mind's Eye and Metal Gear. I thought Metal Gear looked bad. I know that's upsetting to fans, and I know they're going to like nostalgically see past all of the problems, but I'm like, that didn't look good. Kuko says Avowed seems to be very average. It seems like Avowed is landing as a very it's a video game, right? It's not bad. It's not great. It's a video game, right? Looked dated. Yeah, Metal Gear just didn't look like... It didn't look worth a second glance. It didn't. If it wasn't Metal Gear, I want you to imagine that was just some random game. Nobody would be like, yo, did you see that game? They'd be like, what the frick was that? Yes, Astrobot released 5 new levels, and it is now PS5 Pro enhanced. Yes. PS5 Pro patched. It's going to push it to a higher resolution, but still run at 60 FPS. Yes. And there's stuff going on in Helldivers today. There's stuff going on in that game as well. Mind's Eye is set in a simulated world and made by the guy who made the GTA games and partnered with the guys who made the Hitman games. Yeah, it's got potential. It just didn't look good. It just didn't look good. You know? PS5 Pro, Lamau L. What's the problem with the Pro? We've been here before with Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2. Oh, when people said it didn't look good. There was an awful lot more footage, though, of Metal Gear. There was an awful lot more footage. It's using the same voice recordings from the PS2 version. Console bad. Oh, okay. Can we get some Xbox betters in the chat? We've got one of those. We got one of those in chat right now. Xbox better. We want him to feel good. We want him to feel good about his plastic purchase. So can we get some Xbox better in the chat, please? Thank you. There it is. Does that make you feel better? There you go. We don't want you to feel alone or threatened by other people's preferences. You know? What did Chris say? That's the same for Days Gone. It doesn't look like they updated the graphics much, and it's getting a remaster of a PS4 game. It's just stupid. They should only remaster games from PS3 and under to me. Well, Chris Davies, 42% of people who bought PS5s in the last really, really big, 17% of a bump in PS5 selling, 42% of them did not own PS4s. So I don't think people understand what PlayStation 5 is doing. And they continue to drive false narratives about how the market's shrinking and there's no new users to find. Well, PlayStation's finding new users just fine, and they're making games for them. So, remastering a PlayStation 4 game is not for you. It's for those 42%. That's who it's for. They're in the business of making money. Ooh, that's good. That's a good font. That's a really good font. Thank you, Omar, for being my on-the-fly emote man. And a 5 super chat from Cold Slither. I agree about Mind's Eye. It looks like what an AI would give you if you asked it to make a third-person Cyberpunk. And then a 5 bomb from Mac Attack gets us to 521. Congrats. That's 5 more people now that can use that Xbox Better emote. We are so excited to have you guys be able to do that. We want to make sure that Xbox Xbox fans feel like, you know, their preferences are celebrated here, you know. He says, Lord willing. So thank you so much for the 5 gifted members, Mac Attack. Appreciate you very, very much. Jez says it's still not growing, though. Well, but again, I like Jez, but I commented on that one Twitter thread. I think he just kind of moving the goalposts a little bit. It's like, well, the market's not growing. And it's like, oh, in 2023, PlayStation said that 30% of the people buying PS5 and were using their PS5s didn't have PS4s. Those are new users, right? Oh, well, what about, you know, just last month or whenever what was it, a quarter? 42% of the people who bought PS5s didn't have PS4s. Those are new users. Where are they coming from? And then he was like, well, those aren't enough. You know, PC is the lead or something like that. And it's like, but PC is not a platform, no, like that's owned by somebody. There's not some company that's like benefiting from that other than Steam. It's not like there's a platform out here that's like, oh yes, we're getting great revenue and return on the PC revenue versus profit margin. Like what? What revenue profit margin are we talking about? Jumping forward several years from Season 2, Season 3 takes place at the height of the... Oh, gosh. MAU up to 129, game sales quarterly high, hardware through the roof, but yeah, they're stagnating. Right, Donnie? And then that's what Brad Sams was so good about. He covers Xbox, and he was like, this clearly proves there's demand for consoles still in high quantity. You know what I mean? Johnny with 9 months of memberships. I'm one of the guys that fell for Xbox is better. Last gen, I had a PS4. I wish I could go back and buy a PS5 instead. Hey, go trade it in, brother. You know? Nectian with 16 months and a member plus. Just bought a PS5 Pro and I love it so far. But Xbox better. That's right. Even if you bought a PS5 Pro and it's primarily where you play right now, Xbox better. It's true. We can't deny the facts, folks. Johnny Zins, by the way, if you want your membership to count towards the goal, you got to be at Member Plus. We're super close to the next milestone of 525. Thank you guys for over 200 likes. You guys are crushing it today. We did a little bit of a review roundup already for Avowed, landing at a solid 80 on Metacritic and OpenCritic. It's 79 on PC, 80 on Xbox, and then we'll refresh OpenCritic here. Still sitting at a solid 81 over there with 91 critic reviews. I read through, the good, the bad, and the not so good. And I will be playing that game in approximately 2 hours. So thank you guys so much for being here and supporting the channel with your viewership and your patronage. Paul's saying this is a red flag. It started as a game with a sandbox within a sandbox game. Oh, Mind's Eye is the first game for Everywhere. Oh, that Everywhere game that they insist is not an NFT scam game, even though it kind of looks and feels like one. Wow. Okay. Yo, what's good, Unread Gaming? How are you? Yeah, that font is perfect, Omar. The Xbox Better emote is fantastic. I'm a GTA fan. I know Leslie Benzies has the stuff to make a great game. It'll give my GTA fix till GTA actually comes out. I've also followed the game heavily. GTA Discord, what you think? They're just getting ready, right? They're just getting ready. I think that in April we'll have a definitive answer as to whether or not GTA's this year. I do think that Borderlands landing where it lands late September, I think that pushes GTA to late October, early November. That's what I think. So, yeah, DJB, I'm fine. I don't need to check out someone's content who has used their platform to insult me, but thank you for the recommendation. Not interested in that guy's content at all. I thought you were going to say the Xbox Better emote is better. It is. The Xbox Better emote is better. It is so much better now. Guys, as you're piling in, make sure and smash that like button. We're discussing the Avowed reviews, the review roundup that we did at the beginning of the show. If you want to rewind, I spent probably the first 10 minutes or so looking at all the different reviews and what everybody's saying. I will be jumping into the game. We will be doing Avowed gameplay in about 2 hours. We're also kind of talking about just like state of the industry, GTA, GTA 6, PlayStation. Yeah, DJB, you're not listening to me. I deleted your comment. Don't put it again, or you're done. Don't put it again. I do not want that guy's content promoted here. The guy insulted me and my content a while ago, completely unprovoked, which means he's the nameless now. I got no interest in seeing his stuff promoted here. A $5 super chat from Charles Hawk says, a $5 super... I'm sorry, I bought Days Gone about a month ago. Not going to start it until the pro version released. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, the dude accused my content of being low effort, and he plagiarized content in the past. So talk about being a hypocrite. There it is. There's the confetti. I owe you guys a member, and we're going to move the line here to 523. Thank you so much. I owe you guys a member. I owe you guys a membership right now, and here it comes. Okay. Marvel Studios is reportedly considering Jenna Ortega for a big role in the MCU. She could play pretty much anybody, honestly. Let me tell you, all this console dunking doesn't matter. I get it's fun, but I promise you, it's not what matters when things happen. I'm not sure what you're saying, WJC, when what things happen. All right, I tell you what, you just take the day off, DJB. You just take the frickin' day off. You just take the frickin' day off. You either have me on mute or you're just not listening. So you're now done for the day. Just continuing to put that guy's name in my content and promote his content. Go hang out over there for the day. WC is probably meaning to games played, but the consoles do matter when respect to the games played. What are you talking about? I mean, the consoles do matter with respect to the games played. What do you mean? Like, I bought a PS5 Pro, and I will play Doom the Dark Ages with PS5 Pro enhancements. I can go back and play the Black Ops 6 campaign right now with PS5 Pro enhancements. They developed proprietary tech for my console. So, the console does matter. I don't know what you mean. We started this gen all talking about hardware and power and 60 FPS and 4K this and all of that. And now everybody's acting like none of that matters. Why? Because your team threw in the towel? I don't understand. It's like saying touchdowns suddenly don't matter because you can't score any. All this stuff mattered 4 years ago. Why does it suddenly not matter? The side that's prizing it and says it's matter, look at their sales. Look at their new user acquisition. What do you mean? The consoles do matter. The hardware does matter. It even matters in the PC world. How could you argue that consoles don't matter as PlayStation's trying to push things forward, and so are companies like Nvidia? I don't understand why you would act like hardware doesn't matter. Hardware and consoles don't matter, and yet, PlayStation and Nvidia and AMD are out here pushing things forward to give us better performance. Who cares about the console sales? It's the games that are more important to me. But console sales dictate so much. Why do you guys continue to act like console sales don't matter? Console sales do matter. Where do you think games are going to be prioritized for and built for as you see PlayStation continue to dominate? What do you think that's going to result in for third-party development? What do you think is going to happen there? What do you think is going to happen with Xbox published games that are coming to the market that are PS5 Pro enhanced? And you say console sales don't matter, and yet it is clearly having an influence on where games are built, made for, and enhanced, prioritized for. How can you say it doesn't matter? I haven't cared about console sales in over 5 years. It's not new to me. I'm not saying you have to care about the sales. I'm saying the sales have a direct correlation to things that I get. They're not disconnected. When games like State of Play just happened, not many people like those games. What games did you not like from the State of Play? There were 30 games at the State of Play. 30 games and or announcements, because there was some DLC in there. What's not to like? 30. If you go right now, if you go to the PlayStation YouTube channel, it's really, really easy to get a really clean look at a large swath of what is coming this year, all right? So let's just do it. You want to do it? Let's do it. So Right here. You can just replay the whole thing. Monster Hunter Wilds. You don't like that? Shinobi. You don't like that? Sonic Racing. Digimon. Lost Soul Aside. Dave the Diver's getting DLC. WWE. Borderlands 4. Split Fiction. The Directive. This is from the makers of The Quarry. Five Nights at Freddy's. The Midnight Walk. Darwin's Paradox. Warrior's Abyss. Onimusha. This is a remake. Onimusha is coming in 2026 as well as a new one. Metal Gear Solid. Hell Is Us. Liza P. Overture prequel DLC, Dreams of Another, Days Gone Remastered. This is great for all those people who just got a PS5 and didn't have a PS4. There's a lot of them, according to the new reports from Sony. They're going to love this. Stellar Blade DLC, Blueprints, Antibiotic Factor, Tides of Annihilation looked incredible. Metal Eden, which I was wrong. Metal Eden's not a rogue. That game actually looks really, really fun. Mind's Eye, Saros, basically a Returnal sequel, and then Elden Ring Night Rain. I don't understand. Are you a gamer? Do you play games? There's so many games coming this year. The narrative that things suck and that State of Play was bad and that there's nothing good coming, what are you talking about? None but Metal Gear? That's your fault. That's your fault. Perfect image. You stare straight-faced at 30 games announcements, DLC, two remasters, a shadow drop, small titles, indie titles, and you're like, yeah, only one game. That's a you problem. That's not a gaming industry problem. That's like going to a buffet with like a ridiculous amount of food, and you got like the palate of a child, and you're like, well, where are the hot dogs? Only the hot dog looks good. You're going to pass over all the other food. You don't sound like a gamer. You don't. I don't think a lot of these people on Twitter, I don't think a lot of these YouTubers, I don't think a lot of these grifters, they're not gamers. They're not. They're opportunistic. They're just out here. And that's why they always accuse me of grifting, and they say that I don't play games. And yet I probably clock more hours than they do. You can check my stuff. You can check the games that I play. You can check my roundups at the end of every year. I probably roll credits on more games than they do. Because they're just miserable and grifting on the fact that they can like clickbait angry people. It's like, what are you talking about? There's so many dadgum games coming to the market. More this year than last year. I'm not going to be able to play them all. I'm not going to be able to finish them all. Hang on, I got some super chats to thank. Siri with a $5 super chat. Sony carries to varied taste. The sales prove it. Complaining about State of Plays affects nothing. Wired Rope with a $5 super chat. Corporations aren't your friends, but about time you came around to Xbox. That's right, Xbox better. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. We're on our way to 300 likes. I told you we would not stay on Avowed today. I knew we would get on this. I think some of you guys genuinely are you have literally complained and curmudgeoned your way out of being a gamer. I'm going to go. Be well, be safe. None of this crap matters. Yes, going through 30 games that were announced and coming doesn't matter. You're right. Didn't you just say that the games matter? I just pointed out a ton of games that are coming and a ton of announcements that happen, but those things don't matter. Again, I don't think you're a gamer. I don't. I think you want to drive negative narratives, and when the negative narrative dissolves under the blazing light of truth, you're like, well, I'm just going to take the day off. You probably should take your day off from gaming. I didn't say that. You said that the games mattered. I just put a big focus on the games. I'm venting. Oh, for Pete's sakes, WGC. I didn't see that. You might lose a parent today. Console wars don't matter. Family matters. Sorry, not the place for this. You can't trauma dump. I'm sorry you're going through that, brother. You can't trauma dump. I didn't know what was going on. You started in on the whole, this doesn't matter and games matter. And I was like, well, let's look at the games. I'm genuinely sorry you're going through that, my man, but I didn't know that that was going on. You've been around a long time. You know me. I love you guys. I would never mistreat you when you're going through grief. He only made one comment. It wasn't about games. It was about life. No, he started the whole thing with none of this matters, the games matter, and a bunch of other people chimed in. This is typically what happens, right? One person says something, it sparks a conversation, and a bunch of other people start chiming in agreement. And I start interacting with them, and WGC sitting there thinking, oh, I didn't say any of that. It becomes like it's almost like I'm engaging with like this mutant monster and you've all gotten kind of grouped together. I don't do it intentionally. It's just the nature of a big group discussion like this. So I wasn't directly responding to WGC. There were others who had chimed in. Perfect Image was the one that said out of all those games, they were only interested in Metal Gear. So I wasn't like directly responding to WGC. It's difficult in a group setting like this to always like slice out who exactly I'm speaking to. I just talk quick and just go with the flow of chat, not intending to sweep WGC up in my, my passion. It's fine. Yeah, WGC's been around a long time. He knows not to take it personal. That was not all directed at him. There was other people agreeing with the sentiment. Chris Davies was also saying similar things. The consoles matter because it drives where games go and what gets prioritized, and there are so many games coming. People walking away from that state of play, and this is why I told people going into the state of play, I'm like, listen to me, if you're expecting PlayStation to just like come strutting out with like 10, no, I don't like that one, Omar. You're expecting them to come out with like 10 games, first party studio games? Like, come on. What are we doing here? And also, nobody ever keeps score consistently. And 10 bomb from Risick takes us to 533, moving us along. We got a big goal today, and Charles Freeman's going to drop a big bomb on chat. I'm going to join and do the 5 that I owe right now. But nobody keeps score consistently. Everybody wanted to celebrate Ninja Gaiden 4 as an Xbox first-party game. Why? Oh, because Xbox is publishing it. Oh, really? Sony's publishing Death Stranding 2. There you go. There's first party for the year. They're publishing Lost Soul Aside. There you go. There's first party for the year. Ghost of Yote. There you go. First party for the year. They're already at 3. All we need is a little surprise like Astrobot or a Venom game or something in that vein of size. You're 3 already. You're at 3. The biggest year that PlayStation has had with first party this gen was Horizon, Gran Turismo, God of War. 3. They're at 3 this year. So quit your crying. Quit your belly aching. There's greatness coming. There are great games coming. Joker Quinn with a single gifted. Thank you so much. And that gets us to 534. One of the problems nowadays is they announce a game like Wolverine what seems like a long time ago, and then they go quiet like it never happened. Earl, I will admit that can be frustrating, but you have to remember, when the gen starts, that trailer is serving a purpose. That trailer is serving a purpose. Get everybody excited about PlayStation 5, and then they go quiet. Everybody does it. It can be frustrating, I know. It happened with Hellblade 2. They announced it probably way too early. It took a long time to finally, start coming out and having gameplay to show. They did it with State of Decay, right? They did it with State of Decay. Troll with a $5 super chat says, so you're telling me I got this whole buffet of food to choose from? Bet. Give me bread and rolls. Good. Yeah, and I'm good. There you go. Nobody is forgetting that Xbox had a drought for many years. It's just hilarious to Xbox supporters. The Pony's main argument was that Xbox had no games, but now it's not a problem because Sony has none. What do you mean Sony has none? I just listed the 3 first-party games that they're publishing this year. Why do you care where the money goes would be my question, Insidious. Can you answer that? Why do you care where the money goes? If PlayStation's spending the money to publish Death Stranding 2, Lost Soul Aside, and Ghost of Yote, why does it matter that they own Sucker Punch but they don't own the other 2 studios? What difference does it make? They're investing money to bring you publishing efforts to your PlayStation. What difference does it make? I mean, Ryan McCaffrey can be like a wise donkey on Twitter and be like, oh yeah, Xbox is going to publish more games on PlayStation than PlayStation. Oh yeah? Do you want to look at the 4 years that Xbox has been in the market, and there were probably a handful of years that bigger publishers published more games on Xbox than Xbox published, like in, 2022? Xbox turned themselves into a publisher, and you think that's some kind of a win, that like they're going to bring a bunch of old games to PlayStation? Oh, they're publishing more games than PlayStation is. Yeah, they're bringing their catalog over. Of course they're going to publish more games. They just turned themselves into a publisher. Odin Arrow with a member plus. That adds to the count. Thank you so much. That's 535. Let's get a 5-10 dunker in a row. Let's do it. Somebody pair up. I think this is the part where they say some people just don't want a game on PC. Bubble Tea with 8 months. Xbox live in delusion for the past 5 years. I'm so confused by the Borderlands 4 release date, says Christopher. Take-Two said in the earnings call that Borderlands 4 is coming after GTA 6, so that would mean a summer release. Then that's not the fall release window. I need the exact phrasing of when they said that, though, Christopher. Did we misinterpret that? And Rissick with the 10 bomb bumps the line to 545. And he's like, yo, where's my 5-bomb tag team dunker to 550? He wants it. They could cast her as anybody, honestly. You just have to change her hair color. You put her in one of those outfits and it just works. You know what I'm saying? Superhero, like, women in superhero movies are always supposed to be hotties. And she's a hottie. I mean, she can play anybody. It doesn't matter. No, it was said exactly that way in the earnings call. I double-checked it and looked it up. Christopher Burnett, can you give it to me? Can you give me the exact quote? I want to read it. Copy paste. DK Baker and Rissick are going to do a single gifted train, maybe to 550, and that gets us to 547. Thank you, gentlemen. Will Black Myth Wukong ever be on Xbox? I don't know what you're playing, Rissick. Rissick with the 5-bomb. He's like, I'm my own tag team partner, and we're now at a 52. What are you doing, Rissick? He's messing around. Jubilee. She is a little smaller in frame. She is very petite, so she couldn't play any of, like, the tall characters. Right? She couldn't play Storm. So the Avowed suck. I don't think it sucks. I think it's just falling in a more tepid response from the press. It's got a solid 80. It's got an 80 on Xbox on Metacritic, a 79 on PC, and then OpenCritic it has an 81. So here's your OpenCritic, and then here's your Metacritic. So I'm gonna be playing in about 2 hours. It's just tepid. It's not a game of the year front runner or anything like that. It's a game. It's not bad. It's not great. It's somewhere in the middle, and I don't think that's a problem. It's basically right where I thought it would land. I said mid to low 80s. Yeah, that's where it's landing. If you guys are just tuning in, man, thanks for 300 likes. Let's set our sights on 400 likes. Thank you so much. We got a huge stretch goal thanks to Charles Freeman. If we hit 650 today, the man himself said he's going to drop a 50 gifted member bomb, and I will match his gifted member bomb. And here's the 5 that I owe you for 550. What are the scores for the other Obsidian games? I'm not sure. Xbox or PlayStation is stuck in a box where you can't play outside of it. With Steam, you can play it on PC, laptop, any of the handhelds that are made. That's all better for me. I don't disagree that there's a more open approach to PC, but I also think, as has been noted by many developers, that also leads to you guys not getting the best optimization prioritization. I had to laugh watching that Asmongold video where he's like, it kind of feels like, developers prioritize optimizing for console first and PC's kind of an afterthought. It's like, yeah, I've been saying this for a long time. If you're a company with limited budget, limited timeline, limited resources, what are you going to do when you triage your optimization? Where are you going to optimize for and try and get the best bang for your buck first? The closed ecosystem where everybody has the same dadgum hardware. Okay, thank you, G Legend. Apparently, it was a Take-Two quote from an earnings call, which doesn't state GTA 6 is before Borderlands 4. We also have the release of Mafia: The Old Country in the summer, Grand Theft Auto 6 in the fall, and Borderlands 4 before year end. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that was my memory, G Legend. Thank you. I thought I read it, and I was like, wait, I don't think it was that definitive. I don't think it was that definitive. I don't think it was like, oh yeah, we're for sure launching GTA 6 before Borderlands. Portal is useless if PSN is down. That's not a great defense. Portal is a $200 accessory, and more of them sold than the Xbox did last year. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? And PlayStation's working on a handheld. I think PlayStation had a breakthrough with PSSR and AMD, and I think their handheld's going to surprise people. And based on what I've heard, another solid prediction. Just like when I said Portal would add cloud, and they did. And PSN goes down almost never, so your argument's irrelevant. What, once a year the PSN has gone down on average? It went down once last year, and it was down this year. So 360 some odd days, it's a perfectly usable device as long as you have fast Wi-Fi. And the cloud's been really impressive. I've liked it quite a bit. I've been saying for years now that I don't need Avowed to be award-winning or revolutionary. Just do a good job at the classic Skyrim-esque formula and call it a day. Let's go. I actually reading the reviews, Sven, I think it's going to appeal more to me than the people that were looking forward to it for like a deep RPG system. Like Maddie Plays was disappointed in it. I think I'm going to like it more than Maddie did. I think the Pillars guys are going to be disappointed. PC Master Race is a bit of hyperbole, but I genuinely think there's a lot of people who think PC should be the default for games since it's an open platform, and they think the consoles are just the imitator. Yeah, I mean, last year, PSN was up for like 364 days out of the year. Your argument's irrelevant. It doesn't invalidate the device if there's like, oh, if it goes down, it's like, okay, but that's not like a normal, it's not like it's going down every other day. I only know it's down when I see it on my Twitter. I refuse to call it X. Yeah, I don't call it X either. Yeah, it doesn't go down that often. They went down once last year. Now, yes, the outage they just had, I was irritated, man. I couldn't use my Portal. I was on vacation. I wanted to test it out. As you guys are piling in, we did a little bit of a review roundup, an Avowed review roundup, and it's landing square on the 80 number, 80 on Xbox here. We can refresh our Metacritic here. Yeah, right there. So 80 on Xbox, 79 on PC. Open Critic is an 81. So if you're coming in, we're discussing all sorts of things. The state of play, the number of games coming out, you know, people acting like all that matters is first party all of a sudden. People that love the game on PC struggle with the idea that everyone doesn't love it. I don't understand it myself. When they say PC, do they mean Windows? Should Windows be the baseline for all games? Mobile gaming dominates the market. Even mobile gaming spending has gone down, though. Even that's seeing a plateau. Mobile gaming, saying it dominates the market is, again, I think it's a complete false. That's just such a false framing, false narrative. Like, mobile gaming is not competing with console gaming and PC gaming. It isn't. So it's not like, oh, ha ha ha, more people play Candy Crush than play your favorite game. So you're not competing. I was referring to his comment that it wasn't mainstream. Do we need to pull up the sales? I'm not sure what he means by mainstream, though. Like, what's he referring to? Like, Candy Crush being quote-unquote mainstream. You were speaking objectively to his point. I'm not tracking with who you're replying to, homie. It's a fast-moving chat. How long until Avowed makes it to PS5? I don't know. 6 months. How are the Steam reviews? Nobody can play for the next hour and 45 minutes. I will be playing Avowed gameplay on this channel in an hour and 45, so keep it here. It's only as popular as PC. I don't know what you're arguing. I'm referring to mainstream, Lono, as the preferred platform for devs. Oh, right. Well, then your ship's passing in the night. What he's saying is irrelevant. Yeah, mobile revenue and mobile sales has nothing to do with what AAA studios are going to say, right? Like, AAA studios and what they're going to say and where they're going to prioritize and where they're going to put their games, mobile doesn't weigh in there. Like when the next big AAA game from a studio is coming to the market and they're considering where they want to build and where they want to, optimize for, mobile's not a factor. Now, I've said this. Some of these publishers, with the way that I kept telling people on that side that don't want to spend money and they feel really entitled and they only want to play on Game Pass, I'm like, you know what's going to happen is you're going to get deprioritized. Publishers are not going to prioritize you because you're not paying into the market. You're not. You're not a consumer. And so they're either going to prioritize you less and prioritize the platforms that do spend money, PC, PlayStation, or they're going to prioritize mobile. I mean, I've literally said that. I'm like, you better watch out. You guys that don't want to spend any money into the market, and you act like, you know, all these companies are evil and profit is a dirty word. It's like, well, buddy, you're convincing these studios and publishers that you're irrelevant. And businesses are in the business of making money. And if you're like, well, I'm not going to give you any, I'm going to give you the smallest amount that I can. I'm going to scam the Game Pass system and spend $1 for the next 25 years. You're removing yourself from the market equation as a consumer that is expressing demand. Microtransaction popularity rose to what it is in our big games due to mobile. Probably, yeah. Free to play format obviously also did. Mobile's done nothing but literally usher in microtransaction tendencies. Mobile has done nothing to push gaming forward. Yeah, that is generally true. And I don't think studios that like to make video games are driven by, but we could make more money on mobile. They want to make great games. They want to tap into the new tech. That's why I said PS5 Pro will be market disruptive. Devs like to build for a closed ecosystem, and they like to tap into more power. Look at the number of games. Look at how fast it happened. It's like every game coming out now is PS5 Pro enhanced, even Xbox games. Do you want to know why? Because devs like to do that. They like that sort of thing. I'm here to tell you that that's a big priority in their book. Project Amethyst, PS6, that will be a factor in the market. It will. Because devs like it. They've already responded positively to it. Everybody's believing fan fiction about how, like, PSSR was a flop and a failure and the PS5 Pro is a joke. No, your opinion and your false framing is a joke. It's so clear. It is so clear. It's clear as crystal that developers are responding positively to the PS5 Pro, completely invalidating all the false narratives out there from people about it. It's like, you can keep saying it's an L and it was a scam and it sucks and you're going to take individual screenshots from breakdowns to misrepresent it. Buddy, you are not going to convince developers because you're lying anyway. They know the objective reality of what the thing's capable of and what they can do. They don't give a frick about your grift on Twitter or YouTube. You're not convincing anybody but a small rabble of sycophantic haters who literally don't represent the gaming market or the development world. It's pretty mid. You're allowed to think that, but the devs don't agree. The devs don't agree. The market's going to follow that. It's not going to follow fan fiction grifters on Twitter and YouTube. It's why they say that about me, because that's what they think. They literally have bought so far into the delusion that anything that counters it has to be fake and not true. And it's like, well, what are the developers doing then? Are the developers all delusional? Are the Black Ops 6 developers crazy for creating proprietary tech alongside of Sony for Black Ops 6? What? Isn't that kind of a bad thing? It's true. That doesn't make it okay. What's a bad thing? What are you saying is a bad thing? You gotta flesh out your position. I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know what the antecedents to your statement is. I don't think that giving Borderlands 4 a month to sell the amount of copies that Borderlands 4 usually sells is enough time for GTA 6 launches. Assume it's on track and comes out in October when GTA usually releases. I think it's enough time. If they do early access and they do pre-order bonuses, it's enough time. And Borderlands 4 will be just fine. I don't think it's like, I don't think GTA 6 is obviously a problem no matter where it lands. It's got to land somewhere. It's got to land somewhere. What are you going to do with it? The PS5 Pro cost and being what is pandered to by devs and what is right in the wrong direction for consumer wellness. Consumer wellness? What are you talking about? I saw a really great trailer that's relevant to what you're saying. Consumer wellness, right. It's a luxury market that appeals to people with money to spend, okay? I don't know what consumer wellness is, but let's just take a look here at the most recent trailer and commercial from PlayStation that they put out on Twitter. And I'm going to ask you something, all right? I'm just going to ask you something. Who do you think this commercial appeals to? Who? I want you to watch what happens here. You have a Hollywood actor from one of the more famous Netflix shows walking around his very, very nice house with a PlayStation Portal. He grabs bottled water from the fridge. Does this look like they're marketing their product to people that are on a shoestring budget? Does this look like they're marketing their product to people that are like, I don't know if I could afford that PS5 Pro? Who do you think they're marketing their products to? Look at this commercial. Do you think they're marketing to people with money to spend, or people that are like, I don't know, that's too expensive? Seriously, I saw that commercial today and I'm like, that right there is a repudiation to that entire narrative. PlayStation's not marketing to somebody who's like, I don't know, that's a little bit too expensive. It's a luxury market. They're selling to people that have money. I don't know what consumer wellness is, but they're not concerned with that. They're concerned with making money and selling to people who have money. That's what they're doing. That guy's living in luxury in that commercial, and he's using PlayStation stuff. Gavin with 19 months. I love Xbox. I was going to buy one just for the Outer Worlds 2, but now I don't have to. They saved me €500. They're truly consumer-friendly option. Mike on a Mike with a $5 super chat. Good morning, y'all. Another great year for gamers. Thank you, Mike on a Mike. And we need one more super chat for Confetto. Caring about the consumer, not being greedy. Again, you're buying into misnomers and statements that don't apply to the market. There's not a company in existence that cares about you. There is not a company in existence that isn't greedy. Do you think that what Xbox and Microsoft is doing is caring about the consumer? No. Their primary allegiance is to their shareholders and their profit margins. They do not give a single frick about you. Not a single dot or iota in a single report, a single breakdown, a single internal memo, not a period, not a dot, not a slash of their internal documentation is about caring about you. They don't care about you. They don't. If they cared about you, would they be taking all their content to other platforms? Would they have deprioritized the Series X for cloud? They don't care about you. They're just as greedy. Like, imagine talking about consumer wellness and caring about the consumer as you are on the side of what, Microsoft? Do you have any idea how that company operates? You're talking about Microsoft, consumer wellness and greed? They're the worst of the worst. They're up there with Google and Amazon. So you admit you're slaves to the most convenient option heard? No. Spending extra money on a $200 portal, spending extra money on a $700 PS5 Pro, that's not me being a slave to convenience. That's me expressing consumer volition. I freely chose to do that. You're talking like some weird cultist ideologue about like, well, you're a slave to the system. What the frick are you? I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're siding with these companies is very telling. Who am I? Where did I say I'm siding with the company? I didn't side with anybody. I don't have allegiance to a company. I don't give them my allegiance or my loyalty. I give them my money, and I give them my money in response to a value proposition. You need to go take an economics class. You're out of your depth here. Nobody here is siding with the company. I've not said anything in defense of greed or chasing profit. I've said that's what every company does. That's what they do. All you can choose to do as a consumer is who do you give your money to in relation to value proposition and value transmission. That's all you can do as the consumer. That's it. That's your only power in the equation. You have no power over these companies. You're a slave. Well, what are you? What are you doing? Are you waging a war against what, billion-dollar corporations? How are you doing that? You're on YouTube, for crying out loud, adding to an ecosystem owned by Google. Slave to the system is like, I'm here. A $5 super chat from Siriu. Making confetti. Buying video games is now slavery. Yeah, the ideological positions are always just so dadgum flimsy. I have to add a member to the count because of the Super Chat goal getting hit. That's 553. Guys, if you're enjoying the talk, enjoying the banter, enjoying the liveliness and the conversation, nobody's being unkind, we're having a passionate debate, hit that like button. Do it. Give me the 400 likes. Make sure it is saving your like. I'm gifting a member and I reset the Super Chat goal by not pretending it's a good deal. Okay, so determining whether or not something is a good deal is subjective to the consumer. You have this inflated hubris and arrogance that you think your conclusion is not a good deal, so you're pretending it's a good deal. No, it's a good deal because I got value from it. I was promised XYZ performance from the PS5 Pro. I said, that sounds great. Here's my money. Thank you. And I got that. I got the value proposition transmitted to my eyeballs in my brain, and I have now gotten a good deal. I bought 2 Pros, and I play on them with my kiddos and my wife. I got a ton of value for my money. I'm not pretending that I got a good deal. I got a good deal. I was promised X, Y, and Z, spent money, and I got X, Y, and Z. This is buying a gram of weed for $40 behavior. Where do you spend your money? Do you buy stuff from Nvidia? You want to talk about greed? You want to talk about inflated prices? Who do you give your money to? Who? Tell us. What companies do you support? You support Nvidia? What about Intel? Huh? Who do you give your money to? What about Steam? Do you give your money to Steam? Yeah, Steam's not greedy at all. No. They don't have anti-competitive contracts with the companies that put their games on Steam. No, Steam's not greedy. No. Steam is altruistic. Who do you give your money to? I mean, you've got this ideal. You're an ideologue, right? You're not a consumer. You're talking like an ideologue. Okay, ideologue. What's the ideal place to spend my money? Where do you spend your money? You won't answer me, by the way. You don't. You don't know the answer because the answer is a trap, and you know it's a trap. You can feel the walls closing in. It's like, well, I can't answer because every company is doing the same thing. I work in the industry. A lot of it's greed. Not going to say where I get my games. Bingo. So your opinion is as thin and as vapid as a piece of tissue paper in a snowstorm. Who cares what you think then? You won't answer the question because you can't. Your ideology is paper thin. That went over your head. Oh yes. So now you're on some higher plane, and that went over my head. Sure. Sure, Jan. We're all slaves. We're all giving money to these corporations, and we're siding with corporations, and you apparently somehow don't. Okay, cool. Good for you. I don't spend the money on games per se. So you're a parasite. Yeah, you're a parasite. You steal the games. You pirate the games. Truly a dizzying intellect. Yeah. See, the interesting thing is, you're like somebody who doesn't give a tip. You benefit from all the things you criticize, which makes you a hypocrite. Even the parasites, even the pirates, you're hypocrites. You're not Robin Hood. You're not righteous. You're not fighting some war. You're just a cheapskate thief is all you are. You're just some cheapskate thief parasite. And you benefit from the very system that you criticize. You do. You get them for free. So, let me get this straight. So we should all work in the industry so we don't have to pay for games? Is that what you're saying? Is that the ideal? Jumping to conclusions is insane. Okay, so you don't steal the games. You work in the industry and you get the games for free. Guys, this whole time, that's what we were supposed to be doing as consumers. We should all be getting jobs in the industry so that we can get the games and not pay for the games, because that's the ideal. My take on this could cost me my job. I'm against it and speaking out on it. Cool. You don't make any sense to me at all. What are you going to do? Tear the whole edifice down that you work within so that you can what? Are you trying to get laid off? A $5 super chat from Troll. Lil bro, can't tell us what he works on. What do you do in the industry? It's got feisty quick. Ideologues are always, and I mean always, flimsy. They're flimsy. There's nothing to it. There's no substance to it. You're comfortable on this hamster wheel. What do you mean? You think it's a joke? You think what is a joke? Okay. Millions of consumers every day, they go to work, they get money, they spend money on things that they enjoy, and it brings them moments of levity, happiness, and mirth. And then they do it again, and they do it again. What do you propose they should do instead? Trying to put up a fight against greed is wrong, I guess. So, here's the thing. Greed is a funny word because greed is a sin, according to a lot of belief systems. But greed is also what drives innovation in medicine, in technology. Cars are safer today, and people walk away from terrible accidents, and they're not hurt because of greed. There's advances in medicine. Life expectancy has gone up dramatically. Even for the sickest country in the world, right? Like, life expectancy's gone up. Why? Greed. Venture capitalists, angel investors, people investing in new technologies, new medicines, right? What greed is like interwoven into all of it. Where are you going to get all the money for all the investment into all this great stuff that we enjoy? Like supercomputers in our pocket. That's due to necessity. The growth of the companies behind them is because of greed. You sound like to me, you sound like a freshman in college who took one seminar on the evils of capitalism, and you're in here acting like you're gonna fight the power, you're gonna fight against the man, and okay. Good luck. True SSJ Havoc with a $5 super chat. Just got here, so what's the verdict? Is Avowed good? Avowed is fine. 81 on Open Critic, 79 PC Metacritic, 80 Xbox Metacritic. It's fine. It doesn't have bad scores. It doesn't have great scores. Thank you for the super chat, True SSJ Havoc. $2 super chat from Trotro. This bro doesn't really work in the industry, does he? $5 super chat from Mike on a Mic. Convo like this are why I love it here. Lord have mercy. Thank you so much, Mike on a Mic, for the $5 super chat tip. So you bow down, and that's okay. I won't try to change you just stating my opinion. Okay, let me explain something about your opinion. Your opinion is so drunk on hubris and self-righteousness that it's extremely hard to take it serious. It is. I'm willingly giving money to companies that give me something that I feel is valuable and enjoyable. And you're like, no. I'm trying to wake you up, bro. You're bowing down. You're a slave. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm having a great time. My kids are playing Hogwarts Legacy on the weekends. They're having a great time. Bowing down as slaves to these horrible, greedy companies. Okay, you got like doomsday crazy guy on the street corner vibe. Like, okay, bro, the end is near. All right, sweet, and then we go about our day. There's just so much hubris, and there's so much self-righteousness in what you're saying. We're all slaves, and we're all dumb and stupid and bowing down to corporations, and you're out here fighting the system. Which is hilarious because you're probably literally right now using a piece of technology created by the greedy corporations. You're using an infrastructure built by Google, a greedy corporation, and adding revenue and like sort of like introducing new algorithmic realities into a machine that is driven by, owned and operated by one of these greedy corporations. You're a walking contradiction. You're not out living in the woods. You're not off the grid. You are quite literally engaging with and promoting and furthering the things that you claim to fight against. You're starting brush fires with a torch, claiming that fire is bad. It's like, okay, huh? Company I work for is probably one of the worst. Yeah. So $5 super chat from True SSJ Havoc says, so basically it's okay, serviceable, fine enough. All right, yep. Again, that's hypocrisy down to the bone marrow. That's just hypocrisy down to the bone marrow. You're literally paying your bills off of what you call slaves. You're calling people slaves. You make money from it. You're getting a paycheck from it. You're paying your bills and buying your food with money off of, this is according to your worldview, according to your ideology, you're putting blood money in your bank every month. This is your own view. This is your own viewpoint. I'm just putting you into confetti. True SSJ Havoc with a $5 super chat tip. I owe you guys another member. Like, this is your position. This isn't my position. I'm simply following the logic of your argument to its logical end. You quite literally are helping me make money in that industry and Google make money in that industry, and then you're getting a paycheck from it. I took this job as a whited graduate, and seeing the inner workings has turned me around on the matter. Is that not okay? You haven't quit. Do you really believe what you believe? You haven't quit. You're not putting your money where your mouth is. You're putting your money in the bank. A 10 bomb from Rissick gets us to 563. We got a big gauntlet today. If we can get this member count to 650 on the week by the end of today, Charles Freeman will gift a 50 bomb, and so will I. I have 2 children and a wife. Listen to me. This is why what you're saying is so paper thin. You're in here acting like we're all dumb and stupid and slaves and bowing down, like we should do something different. Why don't you start and we'll all follow you? Put them out because of a personal matter is absurd. I don't have any respect for your position, though. Why should I? You're in here using words like slave and phraseology like bow down. Shut the frick up. You're in the system cutting a paycheck from it, so just shut up. You want to tell us we're bowing down and we're slaves to the system? You're in the system. You're a hypocrite. By pure definition, your picture's next to the word hypocrite in the dictionary. You jump to conclusions on me without cause? I'm merely using your phrasing right back at you. You called us slaves, said we were bowing down, said we were siding with corporations. You work for one of them and pay your bills from one of them. So just be quiet. You want us to change and do something different. You're not. You're not. You get angry so easily without all the info. That's why you banned someone who brought up someone you didn't like. I didn't ban them. I timed them out. And I timed them out because after being asked not to mention the guy's content who insulted me, he mentioned him like 5 more times. Are you having a hard time keeping up with what has actually happened? Because now you're just doing revisionist history. That's a fast walk out of here if you're just going to lie about me. You'll never be big at your job because you silence your chat. Oh, I silenced my chat as I've engaged with you for the last 15 minutes? Guys like you want to dance on the line, and when you trigger the ban, you want to act like your feelings get hurt. My feelings aren't hurt. I'm knocking you around the room, and you can't take it, so now you're going to gaslighting emotional projection. It's a classic tactic. Been doing this for a decade. You're not going to get one over on me, little man. You're not. You're shorter than me, and I'm 5'6". You can't win this fight. I know what you're doing. You've lost the argument, so now you're going to project emotion onto me because I get passionate in the discussion. And a 50 bomb from MASH says, let's shut this guy up with memberships. Let's shut him up with memberships. That's a big one. Hang on. I also missed $5 super chat from Rissick. Just want to say Xbox is better and F that dude. And then Luke Vaders with the $5 super chat tip says, why is everyone trying to act like Xbox is winning? It's driving me nuts. Great. Avowed is good, but who cares when Xbox is going to leave the industry? Xbox isn't leaving the industry. Didn't lose. You had a one-track mindset, little man. Oh, so you can use the insult back at me. That's creative. Listen to me, Five. Listen to me. I'm using your phrasing back at you. You said we were slaves. You said we were bowing down to corporations. You said we were siding with corporations. You were calling us, you were creating imperatives. Do you know what that is? You were calling us to do something, to be different, to not support these things. And you work in the industry, make money from the industry, pay your bills off the backs of all these people that are slaves and siding with corporations. You work at one of them. He told you he was clip hunting? You literally were? Hit me with it for the clip? No. No. I don't march to the beat of your drum. I shove your drum off the cliff. Like you don't dictate what goes on in here. You haven't made a cogent point yet. You've merely argued from an ideological position that's as flimsy as Jell-O. It's like you haven't said anything worth saying, really. You've just gotten reactions from people because your position is so hyperbolic and hubris-driven. You're slaves, you're bowing down. And that gets everybody's attention, right? That gets everybody's attention. But the truth is, you're just a hypocrite. You're just a hypocrite. You want us to be different, and you're not willing to be. You want us to change, but you're not willing to. You're telling people they should stop smoking with a pack of cigarettes in your hand. Like, you don't make any sense. Y'all should really stop smoking. Like, what? Luke Vader says that's Goat Gaming's alt. You have and am, though, actively within my company as well. What are you doing to fight greed within your company? What are you doing? What could we do to fight greed? What should we do? What should we do? What's the answer? What's the solution? What's the actionable items? What could we do to fix this alleged problem? Siri with a $5 super chat tip says, if I buy products from multiple companies, which one owns me? Yeah, which one? What are you doing at the company that you work at right now to fight greed? And what are we supposed to do to fight greed? What do we do? I want to know. You have our full attention. You're far more interesting than the Avowed reviews because they're tepid and not that interesting. We're going to play the game in an hour and 15 minutes. So you have our full attention. We should stop giving his company money so that he's let go and his family loses the breadwinner. It sounds dumb, but we petitioned for lowering of labor involved in our coding department to lower the cost down the line without specifics, and that has worked on 3 projects. You've petitioned for lowering of labor involved in your coding department to lower the cost down the line. Oh, buckle up, chat. Okay, so let me get this straight. You worked to lower cost. How did you do that? Were people laid off or fired? You lowered cost. Do you know what lowering cost does? It increases profit. Big corporations are notorious for this. We got to get costs down. Got to get operating costs down. They usually do this by laying people off and finding redundancies. So you lowered cost to fight greed. Are you feeling okay? Too many people being used in one job. We help them spread the workload. Okay, so people kept their jobs. Great. You lowered cost, which increased profit. What? The end cost was $29 cheaper on those projects. $29 cheaper. That goes right to the bottom line of the profit margin. You're displaying a dizzying display of intellect here. You lowered cost. That increases profit. CEOs and CFOs love that. Oh my gosh, they love that. They probably have dreams about lowering cost. But consumers spend less? Oh my gosh. Okay. Consumers save $29 per unit. Right. Now, some companies within their own research department, their own marketing department, would decide to not lower the cost of per unit because they would make more money. Or they would actually lower the price because they would generate more volume, which would, track with me now, in turn give them more profit. Right? So one of two things happened. They either crunched the numbers and they saw lower cost can actually be trickled down to the consumer, and we can lower the cost of the item for the consumer because our market research means we will sell more units, ergo make more money. You're still doing the same thing. You're just moving different pieces, and you think one is like ideological and righteous. Like if we can give the consumer the product for less money, that's a righteous and a good thing. You're creating an imperative. You're creating an ought. An ought or an ought not is an imperative. We ought to lower the cost for the consumer. Here's the problem with what you're saying. You're trying to inject morality into an amoral decision. If I decide to make popsicle stick art or popsicle stick tools and I sell them for $50 a piece and people are giving me $50 for them, I'm not doing anything immoral. I'm not. I just decided that that's what I'm going to charge people. It's an amoral decision. It's absent of morality. A company can decide to sell their car for $35,000 instead of $30,000 just because they did a little bit of research and they're like, the market will bear it. People will pay and we'll make more money. There's nothing moral about it. You asked, I answered. That $29 decrease in cost to each individual consumer came up from the group within the company that worked to make it happen. Otherwise, that price would have been the same. Right. And again, what you're saying will only ever happen if it nets the company more profit. Companies do not allow the lowering of prices on items unless they can argue that it's going to be increasing profits. They would not lower profit. If it's a publicly traded company, they're not allowed to do that. Not for very long. $5 super chat from Joker Quinn. If he actually worked in the industry, you wouldn't have to explain this stuff to him. My and others' actions saved the consumer money. I don't care if the company still made their money. At least the people spent less than what was ever necessary. Yeah. Your entire argument it presumes things that aren't true, and so it's faulty. Your argument presumes an axiom of truth that's not truth. It's axiom of opinion. If the consumer spends less money, that's good. Not necessarily. Why is that automatically good? You'd have to substantiate why that's automatically good. Companies don't lower their prices just because their costs go down. Sometimes companies lower their internal cost and their internal operating budgets and they leave their prices the same. Do you want to know why? They make more money. And guess what? When they make more money, less risk. Less risk of financial strain. More people get to keep their jobs. Maybe because they get their operating costs so low and they generate so much revenue, they invest some of that back into the company. Better working conditions, more people, right? Maybe new certifications for different departments. It's not this simplistic idea. Like, you have this doe-eyed, childlike sentimentality of like, well, if the consumer spends less money, that's automatically better and that's automatically good. I mean, not necessarily. No. Spice King says, that's what I'm saying. Man is trying to wax self-righteous about being a slave to corporations and whatnot and single-handedly funding Jensen's next leather jacket. And a 10 bomb from Gambit Zero gets us even closer to the big goal set by Charles Freeman himself. If we hit 650, Charles Freeman's dropping a 50 bomb. I do the opposite, says MASH. I grow the performance on my division so I get more headcount and budget to play with as I bring more value year on year. Why are we fighting with random chatters? Have you never been here before? This is what we do. We do passionate discussions and debate. Join in, sit and be quiet, or leave. Those are your three choices. Can't understand how overpaying for poor management wouldn't be a bad thing. No answer will resonate with you. Sorry to have wasted your time. Have a good stream. You haven't substantiated that I've overpaid for poor management. That's an assumption on your part. Me buying a PlayStation 5 Pro for $700, you have not substantiated that I overpaid because that's subjective to the consumer. You can only argue that I overpaid if your opinion is fact. That's why I said your opinion is so hubris laden. It's so, you have this inflated sense of I'm right. It's like, huh? I didn't overpay. If you look at the performance of the Pro comparatively to pre-made PCs that offer the same performance, I underpaid. I know for a fact people were overpaying as someone involved, not opinion. Yes, it is opinion because price of the item is not determined by what you think it should be. It's determined by what the market will bear. You're golly, you're swimming in the ocean. You're swimming in Mariana's Trench with floaties on. You're out of your depth. You can't just claim, no, you overpaid because I know. What do you mean you know? Just because you know how much it costs to make doesn't mean people are overpaying. If it costs $5 to make Nikes and they charge $100 for the Nikes because the consumer is willing to pay $100 for the Nikes, they didn't overpay. Whatever the consumer, whatever the market is willing to bear, that's what determines the price, not your opinion on what the margin on the item should be. This is economics basics. It's 101. This is pedestrian. This is second grade. This is so basic, bro. Your opinion about the price of something is not objective. It isn't. Hang on. Siege Master is going to give us 3. He's going to walk us all the way to 625 and pass it. That's Agent of Chaos. I owe you guys 5. Thank you, Siege Master. If you internally know the price to make something, and you're like, I think it should be $15. And they decide to price it at $20 because research indicates people are willing to spend $20, you can't be like, oh, you overpaid. What do you mean? That's a misnomer. That doesn't make any sense. That if people are willing to pay, they didn't overpay. They agree with me. I don't know what to tell you. Again, have a good stream. Yes, they got to use more labor elsewhere for more money, but it still saved on that product. Good luck with Avowed. All right. If you sell the same number of units based on your market research, if you sell the same number of units at $20, let's just say you sell 1 million units. 1 million. Let's make this really, really easy, okay? And you're like, $15 should be the price. That's my opinion. $20 is overpaying. But the company determines they're going to sell 1 million units no matter what, and they sell it at $20. The $5 difference there, $5 times 1 million sales, is $5 million, okay? Let's make it real easy. That company made $5 million more because of the market bearing the price point. That $5 million goes right to the profit margin line as long as it's getting them above No, it goes right to the profit margin line almost assuredly because they determined that was the maximum price point that they could sell the item at, right? Anything that hits that profit margin line is beneficial to the company's solvency, longevity, people keeping their jobs. It's an entire mechanism. Your opinion about, like, it should be 15 instead of 20. People overpaid by $5. Like, what? Oh, okay. Let's not make the extra $5 million because of your beliefs. Let's make less money for our profit margin. Let's risk not making ends meet. Let's risk needing to shrink operating costs and lay people off because you think the consumer should always be spend as little as possible. Taking the principles of what you've said today to its logical end, every product in the market ought to be as close to production cost as possible. What did it cost to make the shoes? $5? The shoes should be $6, right? For the sake of the consumer. But you're going to destroy that entire company. Juice Man with a $5 super chat tip says, so what about people that overpaid during COVID? These people are slow. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Juice Man. Thank you for the $5 super chat tip. Let me reset the super chat goal. You made confetti for us, Juice Man. Thank you. That principle works with the Switch? What principle works with the Switch? And see, whenever we get in these discussions, the people that hate me and they don't have the intelligence to hang with this discussion, all they'll say is that I'm just they'll use very colorful sexual language because they all have like repressed therapy issues that they need to work through, right? They're all like a bunch of like sexually frustrated weirdos. And so they use really gross language to talk about how like, oh yeah, you're just willing to blankety blank these companies and just give them money. No, I'm an adult that understands the economy, and you're a child that thinks in weird, hyperbolic, exaggerated ideology about us versus the corporations. No, I'm an adult that understands the industry, right? You know what I'm saying? I got a mortgage, you got a Twitter account. We are not the same. Like, this is the way the industry's run. That's just how it is. You don't have to like it. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying this is just reality. I'm a man. I'm 40. Omar with 34 months. How are customers already overpaying for a product that he lowered the cost of development and sale price on? I don't know. I truly don't know. And what he's saying is truly, it's truly dizzying, because let's just take his example of like, well, we lowered the operating cost by $29 per unit and we passed that savings on to the customer. Okay, there are plenty of companies that wouldn't do that. They'd be like, no, we lowered operating costs, and that's good for us because that gives us more profit and that makes us more solvent. That makes our company more valuable, and that makes it that your job is more secure. So what he's saying, it's just, again, it's so dumb. It's just dumb. It's ideological and doe-eyed and dumb. It's like, just because you did that in this instance doesn't mean it's always the right choice. If I worked at that company, I'd be like, well, hang on a minute. If the customer's already been willing to spend this much, why would we lower the price by $29? We're going to make more money if we don't do that. And if we make more money, that makes the company more valuable. That makes, maybe we could hire more people. Like, companies are not in existence like skimp and keep, we don't want to make too much profit. I mean, that would be bad, right? Like, that's not a thing. Kelswitz with 24 months. If I hear another ideologue talk about basic business economics improperly, I'm going to lose my mind. Right, Kelswitz? Kelswitz at 24 months. Thank you so much, Kelswitz. I think you're paying for your own membership. You've been around a long time. You got to bump up to Member Plus. Crap, I overpaid for this super chat. Thank you for the $10. And Pathalon Phoenix with the 10 bomb hits another big count for the day. 636. We're so close to the big stretch goal of 650, and then we're going to get a 50 bomb from Charles Freeman. Can't wait. I bet Lona was a blast at college after party stoner talk. I went to Bible college and seminary. That wasn't going on. That wasn't going on. We were debating theology. I can't think as fast as Lono. And a 5 bomb from Zubair. And a 5 bomb from Gambit Zero. And puts us on the doorstep at 6 46. We're right there at the apex. Thank you so much. Was fun to watch the debate, though. He was charitable. He got a little hyperbolic and, using talk like slaves and bow down. But he wasn't mean. He wasn't unkind. He didn't insult anybody. He got his clips. I'll be in content this weekend, and I'll be called a corporate shill. Because the people that call me corporate shill and they put these clips and these segments into their content, they're quite literally too short to ride the ride. They're too stupid to understand what we're talking about. Their skull's too thick. They can't keep up. And a 5-bomb from Sirio and a 5-bomb from Joker Quinn gets us to 656. All right, we're pushing it. We're pushing it. I got a stretch goal for you guys. I got an idea. All right. We get to 700. Okay. Madam gets to decide everything about my character in Avowed when we play on Friday night. All right? Everybody get in here. It's happening. Yeah. Charles Freeman's going to drop a 50 bomb. I don't know if he's here right now. He said that he would, and he will. He's good for it. He's been very, very kind in the past to the channel and to you guys and to me. So, Charles says they aren't going to make it. They did it, Charles. They did it. Look. 650 is 700. Oh, Charles Freeman's going to get us to 7. I'm an idiot. I am a total idiot. Charles Freeman's like, oh, that's the stretch goal? He's like, yeah, no problem. I got you, homies. Frick. I'm stupid. I got a stretch goal for you. 700. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Charles. That's funny. Easy work. Yeah, easy work, bro. Simple. Jason Schreier says, pleased to report that I love Avowed, the latest RPG from Obsidian. Hang on, let me boost the text size in here. Golly goodness. There we go. I'm getting old. I expect strong writing and combat, but what surprised me is the exploration. Everywhere you turn, there's a secret of treasure, a rooftop to climb. It's dense and full of life. And a 50 bomb from Charles Freeman gets us to 706. Holy mackerel. I don't know. What's the next one? I owe one as well. I will do a 50 as soon as Charles is done. I greatly appreciate it, Charles. You've been so kind, bro. You've been so kind to the channel. I tell people all the time about that frickin' what was it? The Rabbit Hole Derringer bourbon was so dadgum good, man. Oh, I probably drank it a little too fast. It was very, very good. 12 minutes. Well, now Madam's in charge of all of my decisions on Friday night when I play Avowed. Every dialogue, everything. She's gonna get to call the shots. I don't know what else we could do. The gaming industry's down the toilet. Yeah, for sure. Record earnings for PlayStation, everything going up for them, and more games than we can swing a stick at in 2025. But you're right. It's just gaming industry's going to hell in a handbasket. Mm-hmm. Can we get some Xbox bettors in the chat? His reply to the first tweet. I'm a little surprised reading some of the reviews, but I suspect that Avowed could wind up like Fallout New Vegas, where there's a vast gap between the critical reception and the overall player consensus. Listen, I kind of said that, Lone Wolf, didn't I? I was reading that one review, and I'm like, this reads like a game I'm going to enjoy more than I expected. It reads like a game like Casual Dad Gamer's going to like. I don't know about you hardcore, Pillars guys. Like I said, like Maddie Plays was pretty disappointed from what we've been told. These trolls never respond to me anymore. Do you think they have me on a list or something? No, they just come in and say something for a reaction and probably leave. The AAA industry's down the toilet? Really? Okay. So are you not looking forward to Monhun Wilds this year? Borderlands 4? Mafia the Old Country? You're not looking forward to any of those games? What about Ghosts of Yote? What about Death Stranding 2? Those are all AAA games. They all look really good. It is a conundrum. I lost my Xbox butter. Oh, you don't have a membership divisive. Yeah, if GTA 6 comes out this year. Whew. What a terrible year. Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages. Just awful year in gaming. Just terrible. Just a freaking joke. There's nothing to play. Stretch Goal Lono styles his hat differently. Not a different cut, just a different style, like basic 80s comb. Oh, you want me to style my hair differently? It's so long, too. It's so long, I can't, it's not staying up anymore. We do this every year. We do. All right, here, I owe you guys 50. Maybe you'll get in. You might get in on this one, Divisive. You might get in on this one. Here I come. Pause. No Man's Sky dev team's releasing a new game. You should check it out. Oh, no, I know about it. Light No Fire. Yeah, I have a video on it here. I've covered it. I'm looking forward to it very much. I love Sean Murray and the team at Hello Games. They're great. They are great. I can't stomach how bad the industry is. I'm selling my PS5 and buying a lawnmower. Tom Warren says the next Xbox is going to be very different with unique and innovative hardware. What does that mean, though? My thoughts on the next-gen Xbox and Notepad. Is he quoting the Jez Corden thing? Is he reacting to that? Or does Tom Warren have some inside info? Hang on. Good Lord, what did I come back to? That's a 50 bomb that I owed you guys. Sorry. I was responding to a guy on Twitter. He has a chart that he was trying to like repudiate new user acquisition for PlayStation with, and it was customer spending. I'm like, that's customer spending. That's not new user acquisition. Right? I don't think Maddie has played Pillars. I thought Maddie was a big Pillars fan. Am I misrepresenting? I don't want to misrepresent Maddie Plays. I thought he was a big Pillars fan. I thought that was like one of the reasons he was excited about the game. Am I wrong in saying that? Is that not an accurate statement about Maddie Plays? You don't think he's played them. He hasn't. I swore I watched one of his videos and he was like gung-ho about Avowed because of Pillars, or maybe it was something else. Oh, maybe it was Obsidian's work on one of the Fallouts. He's a big Obsidian fan. There it is. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to misrepresent Maddie. I like Maddie. I thought he was a big Pillars fan. Okay, so he's a big Obsidian fan. Same deal though, right? Like he was excited about the game as an Obsidian Fallout fan, and he's been disappointed in the game. Okay. I appreciate the clarification. I never, ever want to misrepresent somebody. I hate that. People do it to me all the time. And I don't want to do that. Because, again, I like Maddie. I don't have any issue with Maddie. I joke about the PC Master Race all the time. But if I had a $500 budget for PC, for PC gaming, I'd never be bored. I'm not sure what you mean. Thanks for the membership. You are welcome. Did Divisive Gaming get one from me? I don't even know what we'll do at 750. I don't want to do anything with my hair or a hat or anything like that. We need something though. We need something for Madam because it's only Thursday. He says it's still good, but it wasn't really hitting the spots he wanted it to. No, not 12 minutes, Trill. Quit. Sorry, Leno, we were discussing my opinion that if you love games, you can play 5-year-old games on 5-year-old hardware and be happy. Oh, for sure. Not even 5-year-old games, though, Zuby. You can get a $500 rig, and you could play games like frickin' Karate Survivor and Deep Rock Galactic and have a dadgum blast. I mean, there are so many, I think, good little fun games to be played, even on like mid to low end rigs. Yeah, Maddie says here, let's let him speak for himself here. Avowed is good, not great. Considering Obsidian has made some of my favorite RPGs ever, KOTOR 2, New Vegas, Outer Worlds, it bums me out that I can't sing greater praises than that. Okay, hang on. A little bit more qualifications here. Also, since the internet loves a snowball, I am not concerned about the Outer Worlds 2 over this game. At least, not yet. Avowed feels shackled lightly due to its previous multiplayer focus, and I think Obsidian did a fine enough job unwinding it. You can absolutely feel it, though. I expect a game built from the ground up as a single-player RPG such as Outer Worlds 2 to have greater reactivity, and hopefully writing, than what's present in Avowed. I think that's a very fair assessment. I don't know how far in development they were when they were doing the multiplayer thing. It's okay, please don't worry about it. Targeted gifting is coming, Divisive Gaming. Eventually we'll be able to click on your name and make sure that you have. Nice, we have this emoji. We do, Mash. Xbox better. We always turn hate into something fun. It's one of the best. It's one of the best antidotes to hate, is just turn it into something fun. Split Fiction previews are dropping. We were won over by Split Fiction's plethora of varying gameplay types, such as twin-stick shooter, a pinball-inspired puzzle platformer, and in one instance, a hot dog simulator. Our final hands-on impressions. I can't think of anything I played recently that resonated with me quite like Split Fiction. I'm so dadgum excited for that game. Looks like the previews are very, very good. A $5 super chat tip from True SSJ Havoc. I got 6800 XT, a card from 2020, which is slightly ahead of the Pro, which you can get for around 400 secondhand, more new. Yeah, if you have an existing rig that you can kind of like Frankenstein up, it actually is sometimes much better than buying the Pro. I've admitted that time and time again to people. That a lot of people, they continue again to misframe me and false frame me and lie about me. We'll act like I'm like anti-PC, and I'm always telling people like, you can get a whole lot of value out of a PC, especially if you already have one. If you have one that you can upgrade and you have that existing library in Steam, yeah, there's a lot to be done out there that could really, get you into another 4 or 5 year rig that would work just fine in a lot of these games. If you're on a 1080 monitor, you can get away with light hardware for sure. You did a lot of PC in your Destiny days? Yeah. A lot of people just don't know the lore of Lono. Like, they don't know my history. They genuinely think that I just suddenly appeared out of nowhere in 2021 and just started, being more of a PlayStation fan. And it's like, I've just always pivoted to where I felt like I got the most value. It was really easy for me to stop using my PlayStation 4 Pro and my Xbox One because I got 60 FPS on my PC. I had a 2080 Ti rig, and I could play games like Fortnite, and I could play games like Destiny. I played a lot of PC games back then. A lot. Because it was just, I got better performance. A lot of people don't realize that was one of the reasons I was super excited for the Series X, because I wanted to go back to consoles. I wanted to. It was like I did not prefer to be on a PC. I only did it for the performance. And so Series X really spoke to me. I was like, this thing's going to be great. you know? I remember when he jumped to PC, every game needed to be tweaked. Oh, it became a pain, yeah. And remember, eventually, we just decided to say, we're going to do, we just decided, what? Oh, never mind. We just decided we were just going to stream everything at 60 FPS because it was just such a pain. It was such a pain to try to stream things at like 120 or 160. Our 1-minute creator growth program. You'll be rewarded in cash when you post your first video and continue to monetize thereafter. I just need them to get bought by somebody and then I'll join that kind of stuff. I'm just waiting. Back, sorry for earlier. Things might be better than initially thought. You're good, WGC. Guys like you have you get a lot of goodwill and rapport with me. You know what I'm saying? I try to have as much understanding as I can. Everybody stubs their toe and has that moment of, you know, lash out. So I hope things are fine or as good as they can be. All right, we're about 40 minutes away from me playing Avowed for you guys. Is it good? It is being described as like good, not great. It's fine. It's okay. It has basically an 80 across the board. That's not a bad score. That's also not a great score. I said it was going to be like mid to low 80s, and that's pretty much where it's landed. A 10 spot from Otavio Cruz. Oh, man, I always thought you were one of those gamers that materialized out of thin air. Bummer. It's serviceable like Starfield. It actually sounds like it's in better shape than Starfield, but we are hearing there's some pretty bad reviews out there with respect to bugs and glitches and stuff. But a lot of the reviews are not that bad with respect to bugs and glitches. So I'm not sure if other people, some of it could just be PC configuration, right? We're hearing some people had some very, very bad experiences, and then I'm also reading others that are like, it's fine. There's a few things here and there. Some charming jank, yeah. They're gonna continue to fillet her for that. I know what she meant. It's so unfortunate that she phrased it the way that she did. IGN has completely crashed out. These tweets are protected. Wait, have they gone into... They've not gone into protected mode. No. Yeah, they've not gone into protected mode. Between the incredible story, over-the-top moments, clever gameplay mechanics, crisp controls, and wonderful presentation, it is clear this has the makings of a potential Game of the Year candidate. Split Fiction getting high praise from its previews. Delete, leave. The spam bots are just getting a little wild. You'll probably dip when I start playing. That's fine. If you can keep it open and just turn the volume down and look away because you don't want spoilers, the viewership helps. Losing people to that is always a rough go. Can we get 19 more likes on the video? Man, you guys have crushed it today. Get us to 400 likes. Xbox currently has more first-party games coming to PlayStation 5 this year than Sony. Microsoft might legit publish more PS5 games this year than Sony does. Yeah, the Xbox Discord's in full effect, boys. The mouthpieces are hard at work. Lona, you just admitted you have a mortgage, meaning you're too grown to play Avowed. Go do some responsible, boring adult stuff. That's right. I'm watching you, Lona, because I don't want to waste time. They're at it again. Yeah. Did any of those outlets, did any of those pundits point that out when that happened to Xbox multiple times this year? That they barely published anything compared to other publishers? Did they do that? I doubt that they did. The man is literally getting money for his mortgage right now. The funny thing is, too, this probably isn't the first time that you could claim that. There were probably years where EA published more games to PlayStation than PlayStation did. There were probably years where Activision Blizzard. Right? Is it a false statement? No, but it's false framed. It's framed in a way as if it's like a big problem or some crazy revelation. It's happened to Xbox in the past. It's probably happened to PlayStation in the past. And also, here's why it's also false framed, Diaz. They're bringing over a lot of games that are 3, 4, and 5 years old. Like, does that make sense? That'd be like if suddenly Nintendo decided to put 15 games onto PlayStation that were a bunch of old games. You're like, wow, Nintendo's publishing more games on PlayStation than PlayStation is. And it's like, well, yeah, you're bringing over a bunch of old games. Is that a representation? Is that like a fair representation? Like, or are you trying to make it seem as though like, yeah, PlayStation's really sucking. Xbox is out here publishing all these games. It's like, well, as far as new games are concerned, what? Doom? Ninja Gaiden 4? What new games is Microsoft publishing on PlayStation? There'll be an annual Call of Duty, Doom the Dark Ages. Indiana Jones is new because it's staggered. So Doom, Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, and then I don't know. Do you see? It's just so misleading. It's like, yeah, they're going to bring over Hellblade 2. Whoop-de-frick. Forza 5. It's 4 or 5 years old. Like, oh, yes, they're publishing more games, but you're bringing over a bunch of old stuff. Again, it's coming from people. Like, Ryan McCaffrey's the one that started it. He's the one that said it. That's from IGN. That's IGN, the outfit that said that PlayStation 5's console sales are plummeting. That's who you're getting this information from. That's why it's so suspect. It's like you are clearly running a narrative. You might as well all be in a Discord like we already saw. You're not reporting the news. You're just grifting. Most third-party publishers have consistently published more games to PlayStation than PlayStation first party. The new fanboy argument is based on publishing because that's where Microsoft competitive is as a third-party publisher. Right, that's what I said, Corey. It's not a new development. It isn't. It's like, I guarantee you, every year there have been more games published from big third-party publishers than PlayStation publishes. PlayStation publishes roughly 3, maybe 4 games a year. Some of these publishers are putting out, 5 and 6 games a year. Is it grifting if the audience is in on deceiving themselves? It's just it's just become a joke. The whole thing. It's just the whole thing's become a joke. It's fanboyism disguised as reporting. Yeah, you're just a fanboy. You're not reporting anything. Like, show us how much dust is on your PlayStation, is on your PSVR 2. You know what I mean? Like, it's just fanboy grifting. That's why people that don't do it, people that just deal in facts and stats and charts and reports, that's why they get called fanboy grifters, because all you can run to, the people that like are legitimate, are people that are doing that. So you 100% have to paint this picture like, well, anybody that's not agreeing with this is a fanboy grifter. And it's like, it's so, I'm just going to call it what it is. It's freaking sinister. It's dadgum sinister. What they do is they intentionally grift and lie, and anybody who doesn't buy into it is a grifter and a liar. Like, you can't win. 2-spot from SDO. The PlayStation 1 was built on third-party games. I feel like they've always relied on third-party games. It's not a new development. It's not a cause for concern. Avowed is a video game, says Jez. Yeah, that's what I said today. I was like, it's not great. It's not bad. It's a video game. It sounds like it passes all the tests of being a video game. What are you doing? This guy says, this is what happens when Xbox is no longer competitive. First holiday season, Xbox basically threw away fighting for market share and was more expensive than PS5. Xbox declined by over 1 million last holiday, while PlayStation 5 grew by over 1 million. Drainage. It's propaganda. That's what it is. It functions like it. Yeah. It's just so tiring. It's just so tiring. I'm just going to keep holding to the principles and the standards that we've outlined for our content, because I believe there are way more gamers out there. There are way more people on YouTube. I think this little weird sycophantic crowd that goes from like one stream to the next and they all buy into the fan fiction, I think that group is shrinking, and shrinking fast. You know what I mean? We need more video games, if that makes sense. I felt like Jake Space Marine 2 was that. Just a video game, bro. Oh, I loved it. Especially when they improved. I got much better consistent frame rate and image quality on the Pro. Good golly, it ran great. That's a video game, dude. That's a video game, bro. So much fun. And I'm super, super disappointed that I didn't play it co-op from the beginning with Madam. We had such a good time with it. The operations just got a little too... They just take too long. The operations are freaking long, and it just got a little stressful. Even on the easiest setting, I was just like, the campaign was a lot more casual. And oh, they're saying Saros gameplay will be shown off later this year. Okay, good. I think Returnal's sequel is going it's gonna vibe with more people. Avowed is bad? No, it does not sound like it's bad. Have you read about Avowed's progression system? Mike, it's consistently one of the things that people criticized, but we're gonna find out in 30 minutes. Oh, I didn't schedule. Shoot. People are not gonna get the 30-minute noti. Oh well. I should have scheduled like 5 or 6 minutes ago. I didn't set an alarm. Hang on, let me schedule my Avowed gameplay. I could always schedule it for 15 after and we can just go early. I can do that. I'll schedule it for 15 after, and then I can just adjust the time. All right, I'm scheduling the gameplay now. We're going to go to it in like 29 minutes. That's when the game opens up for early access, which I have paid for, and it is installed, and it is ready to go. You want to know if it's stable? Y'all know me. I'm pretty persnickety. I don't abide performance issues. I'm still pretty irritated working through Final Fantasy 16, man. I'm about to put it back down again and pray for a pro. I'm about to go to Grand Blue. I'm about to switch to Grand Blue because they're very similar in like the gameplay, not the art style. But I'm about to switch to Grand Blue because Grand Blue runs better. Some of those later areas, controller charged. I can take a restroom break and bring down some double A's because it's an Xbox controller with double A's. They're saying it's one of the downsides. Yeah, apparently, like, the enemy scaling and the weapon upgrading is like it's a pretty big rough edge in the game that people are not enjoying. So right now, it's got an 81 on OpenCritic. I just refreshed. Let's refresh Metacritic. And, yeah, that's pretty much not moving. Okay, so just a solid 80, like, across the board. No, you cannot play Grand Blue with my wife. No, Corey. You can play missions. You can't play the campaign together. It was such a bummer. Somebody told us that, and I had her play through the entire opening of Grand Blue Fantasy. She gets to the town, we go to pair up, and we realize you can't play the campaign together. Enjoy the game. Thank you, Sven. Like, such a bummer. Such a bummer. I was so excited to have that kind of a game to play with her. So you can play together, just not the campaign. It's really weird, Diaz. So it's like, I guess you're supposed to do the campaign and then like come together to play missions together, like these specific quests, like side quests and stuff, which means we would have to like sit side by side and play through the campaign by ourselves and then come together for like the side quests and the quests and stuff. It would just be really awkward, and I'm not going to have her do that. Yeah, Split Fiction is going to be a game that we play both with I'll play with Madam and with Hilly. You guys will enjoy that. It's going to be great. Yeah, they're like boss fights. Yeah, it's kind of like going on co-op missions in Monhunt is what it looked like to me. You like go to a little station board NPC thing, and you get like a boss to go fight, and then you can go do it together. Big difference between Lono and Lobo. That's right. I love seeing 350 bombs at the top of the chat like that. Mash, Charles Freeman, and myself. It's just beautiful. So many people getting blessed with memberships out here. So many. You can play the campaign together, but both have to have completed the main quest also. Once you get to endgame, it lets you replay missions. And you can do those in co-op. Yeah, that doesn't serve my purposes. So I'd play through the entire game by myself and then loop back through it a second time with her. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Is 80 just the floor for average games now? I mean, yeah, if you drop below 80s, I'm usually concerned. Like, if something's in, like, the mid-70s, that typically means that there's a lot of low scores pulling it down, which means there's probably some issues. Right? If you can hold on to an 80 or above, that usually means you've got a, like I would say, like, a solid game. Like, it's a solid game. Once you're at mid-80s and above, I would say, man, that's a good game. That's definitely worth checking out. As soon as you touch 90 and above, you're talking great. You're talking game of the year contender. You know what I mean? It's like high 80s, low 90s, you're in game of the year contention. Mid 80s, Really, that's a good game. Well worth checking out. Low 80s, yeah, probably perfectly fine. Once you drop out of the 80s, it's like, okay, there's something off here, right? There's low scores pulling this down. What's the deal? Once you're out of the high 70s, I would be very concerned. Like once you're in like the low 70s, it's like, it's probably some issues. And that's unfortunate because there's just so many games coming out. Are you going to play a game that got a 72 on Metacritic or a game that got an 86? There's a big difference between games getting in the high 80s, mid to high 80s, and games in the low 70s. There's a big difference. So it's tough. I suspect 60s and 70s on Steam. Yeah, as soon as something's down in the 70s, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably good. Because there's so many games to play. So many games to play. Yeah, when Jez and Brad Sams went back and forth, Jez says, are those new users buying the PS5s? He says, are just PS4 users upgrading? Okay, well, the answer to the question is 42% of them were new. They were not PS4 users. PlayStation reported that. He says the growth trajectory is almost identical. The sales of microtransactions in Fortnite is identical on Xbox One and Series X. He says the issue in the industry is that it's PC finding the truly new users. But again, I think you've really got to qualify that. Number one, do we know that they're truly new users? And it's in particular markets. Right? It's in particular markets. It's not like brand new users are showing up on PC, like materializing out of thin air. 7% increase is not almost identical. Hang on, Chrome did that stupid thing. I hadn't refreshed chat in a while, and so it crashed. Like, where's the evidence that people getting into PC gaming are literally completely and brand new consumers? Like, I want to know where the evidence is for that. PC growth trajectories are real. I'm not denying the growth trajectories. I'm saying, why are you saying they're the only true new users being discovered when PlayStation continues to report they have lots of people buying PS5s who did not have PS4s? Like, why do they continue to report that? Matt Piscatello says PS5 has been a bright spot for console business in recent quarters. Interesting tidbit from today's results. The U.S. accounted for approximately 30% of PS4 unit sales through December of 2017. 33% of PS5 unit sales through December of 2024. PS5 is currently 7% ahead of PS4's U.S. unit sales pace. Yeah, and then when they say 42% of the consoles sold were sold to people who didn't have PS4s, those are new users. They're coming from somewhere, man. Porter Rock says, now Xbox fanboys want a breakdown of the profit margins of PlayStation's best quarter, even when they don't even have the numbers of Xbox profits at all. It's true. We never get hard numbers. We never get hard numbers. Lona, when you start a gameplay of Avowed, can you check the difficulty options for this old lady? Yes, ma'am. I love to play video games, but don't want my butt kicked all the way through it. I could probably check on that for you right now, Kat. I think there are difficulty options. There's enough reviews out that we can probably find something. Avowed has 5 difficulty settings: story time, easy, normal, hard, and path of the damned. So yeah, you can put it all the way down to story, which means you probably can't even die. You know what I mean? Like when I put games like Insomniac games on story, it's just like, I mean, that's lower than easy. So yeah, you have 5 choices. They also have accessibility choices. Yeah, and other things you can tweak. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Had to drop difficulty for Stellar Blade Final Boss. It was hard. The one that kept having the one-shot kill fight was tough. The camera kept messing up on me because she'd get like directly above me, and I was getting irritated. That was the only fight that really bothered me in Stellar Blade. Well, no, start on Path of the Damned. You built different, G. No, I'm not. Corey says, this is such a weird time in this community. There is certainly a blatant and deliberate attempts to downplay and discredit PlayStation. People are hoping that if they just repeat the false premise enough, that people will still believe it. To me, it's a death rattle, Corey. Look at the growth. Yeah, monthly active users on PlayStation is up 43% compared to December of 2017. But they're not growing. You know, like the console market's stagnating, guys. You can't find new users. 43% jump in monthly active users in 7 years. But it's a stagnant market, and you can't get new users. 42% of the people who, you know, bought PS5s in the recent reports were people that didn't have PS4s. But you can't find new users. There aren't new customers out there. Listen, it's a death rattle. It's just a death rattle is all it is. You know what I mean? If you don't know what a death rattle is, it's like the final shake of something that's dying. And when you play like Hearthstone, like death rattle is when you kill the enemy, they do something as they die. That's all this is. It's just a death rattle. It's like the whole effort, all of the misinformation, all of the FUD, all of the astroturfing, it's all coming crashing down. So now they're having to pivot to some other new narrative of like, well, the console market's stagnant, PlayStation's dead, PC is the future. That's what they're all saying now. That's what they've all pivoted to. Anything to maintain any shred of no, not Sony. It's just a death rattle. It's just this pathetic whimper of an attempt to like keep together some sense of a narrative. It's just, it is, oh. It's pathetic. It's just pathetic. It's just so much easier to admit facts. The thing about it that's pathetic is that they've been doing it for 5 years and it just failed at every turn. They lied, they obfuscated, they misled people, you know, they spun things. And it's like it failed. It failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. And now here we are, and it's just like it's like instead of going through the stages of grief and getting to acceptance, they've just gone right back up to denial. It's like denial and anger. It's like instead of going through the formal stages of grief and arriving at acceptance, they just went back to steps 1 and 2, and it's just like denial and anger, denial and anger. Thank you, Dan. Any lunch suggestions? You're open to anything? Man, I can always get down with some Chipotle or Chick-fil-A. That's typically where we go. Chipotle is safe for my daughter, and Chick-fil-A is safe enough if we're careful. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the guy's name, but this guy is saying that this is one of the most broken games I've ever had the displeasure of trying to finish for a review, and in a long time, maybe ever. Also ran into an issue in later game areas. I could not enter a certain zone without the game just crashing and just breaking. I have not had this much trouble finishing a game due to technical issues in a very long time. Why is nobody else claiming this, though? And we didn't just deal even better if I wasn't ticked off enough already. I'm not allowed to show you footage. A lot of these broken areas, broken quest lines or objectives, because they happen in an area of the map later in the game that is specifically barred from us showing you in the review. I don't understand. He doesn't make any sense. So the game can be streamed and played in 13 minutes. Why wouldn't you have just made a video showing that stuff and drop it after the embargo? Oh, hang on. Your Marvel Rivals with a $5 Super Chat tip. Do you feel that Xbox putting titles on Switch 2 will hurt the potential market share of their own handheld later? I don't know. It depends on what the handheld offers. Thank you for the $5. That's a tough one to answer. Masky the Gamer. Is that an upgrade to VIP Plus or just a renewal? PWH says, Lono, my bad. I didn't know you were on Don't Say That Guy's Name basis. If I ever knew, wouldn't have added you. My apologies. You're fine, PWH Town. It was more about, I don't mind saying his name. It was that somebody came in and was like, check out his review. You guys should go watch his review. Go watch his review. And I'm like, you know what? Frick you, bro. Like, don't be coming in here promoting the content of somebody who has, like, openly insulted me to his live audience. You know what I mean? I don't mind seeing what he has said. Like, I'm not like, oh, he's so upsetting. But I don't want people telling folks to go watch his content. That was what I got irritated with. And I just politely asked DJB to stop. It's like, dude, stop. You're telling people to go watch someone's review. Like, you're hanging out at my review roundup, telling folks to go check out a review of a guy who, you know, insulted my content. Unprovoked. You know, unprovoked. As all of these guys have unprovoked, insulted me and called me all sorts of names and tried to convince people not to watch my content, you know. All unprovoked. Never done anything to any of these people. Just a bunch of insecure boys who see someone's opinion they don't like, and that's what they have to do. They can't just be like, well, I don't agree. They've got to act like children on a playground. Mortismal Gaming had 40 crashes on PC with a 3080 and 100 hours of gameplay. It definitely needs a day one patch. Dadgum, that's a lot of crashes. It's not that you're not allowed to say his name, Scott. It wasn't that I was like, I didn't say please don't say his name. It was like, don't come in here and promote that guy's content. You know what I mean? There are people that have gone out of their way to insult me and attack me. And it's like, you can say their names. I don't freaking care. But you don't need to be like, go check out this guy's video. Like, I feel like there's a difference there. Especially when I asked him to stop and he kept doing it. He ended up promoting the guy's review like 5 times. Who are we talking about? For frick's sake. Luke Stevens is who we were talking about. Completely unprovoked. He attacked me and my content. He called my content low effort. He mocked me and 30 and So Gaming and Doc Dark after watching like 30 seconds of a podcast. It was completely unprovoked. It made no sense. I don't know why he did it. It really just, it came off as extremely insecure and childish. And the funny thing was, and the real sad thing about it was, I was always promoting his content and mentioning him and telling people to check out his content. And then he openly insulted me for no frickin' reason in a live stream. And I was like, all right, fine. That's for whatever reason, that's going around. You know, you pay people compliments and promote their content, and then they attack you because they're lowbrow trash, I guess. You know what I mean? It's just like easy to be like, well, I'm just going to hurl an insult at this guy for no reason. It's like, okay. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know? Nobody has any honor anymore. They're all just little boys running around scared of something, and then they just constantly go on the attack for, again, unprovoked. There's just no reason for it. All right, let me set up a redirect on this. We're going to go in like 9 minutes. We're going to be playing the game in 9 minutes. I'll have a new stream for you guys in 9 minutes. We're going to be jumping into Avowed on the Xbox Series X. He called you a Sony pony for no reason? Yeah. It's like people will trip over themselves, you know, to not mislabel somebody, but then you'll call me a Sony pony, and I'm like, I'm not. Like, I do not run a show like that. I don't run content like that. You know what I mean? You calling me that is a lie. It makes you a liar. If you want to be a liar with that lacks, you know, integrity and character, and that's your choice. If you want to call me that and misframe my content, that's fine. I mean, those are your choices. You know what I mean? Grown men deciding to hurl insults and mislabel and false frame, like, I don't have any respect for people like that. You're just a boy, an insecure boy. I interact with, and I'm friends with, and I'm in a community with men who own and operate businesses, and I'm around real, actual men of integrity and respect and moral character. And these sniveling buffoons are just, they're not worthy of respect or attention. He copies your format and ideas all the time. I swear after you talk about something, he makes a video the next day. Well, I don't think that that's probably happening, Zyber. I think that we're both doing the same thing. We're looking at the gaming news media, and we're picking the lead stories. You know what I mean? It's really hard to look at the gaming market, and if I'm picking lead stories to cover, anybody that covers gaming news is probably going to do the same thing. They're going to end up picking the same stories. You hear that, Mom? I'm a man. All right, we got 5 minutes. Let me make sure my Xbox is up and running and ready to go here. You're too early. Let me see here. We're going to want this. Why is this capture card still acting like this? It's the capture card. I thought it was my old PC. Okay. Let's try this again. What the heck is going on? Yeah, I can't get the cap card to work. What the frick is this thing doing? I don't understand. I'm not getting anything from it. I've got it hooked up. I can see it. Gamer Ultra 2.1. I don't understand what OBS is doing. What kind of chair is that? Asking for a friend? I have no idea. It was sent to me a long time ago. Thank you for the VIP and the 24 months, though. It's called a high back mesh ergonomic chair. There's a lot of companies out there that make them. I do not understand why this won't work. I don't get it at all. It's plugged in. It's working. It's not even saying, like, no signal. It was just working the other day. Like it's triggering in yeah, I mean it's triggering in frickin' in the Discord, no problem. It's OBS, I'm sure. Let me just add a whole new capture device. I don't understand what the frick it's doing. Oh no, the console cap card is somewhere. Still. Console cap card, delete. Add video capture device. Console. Okay. It's getting no signal from it. There must be something wrong with the frickin' with the cap card all of a sudden. So frickin' irritating. I hate when stuff just stops working for no reason. It's so irritating. Literally worked. Restart it, homie. I've restarted it multiple times. This ain't my first rodeo, my man. I've unplugged it and plugged it in multiple times. OBS doesn't say anything. OBS says nothing. It doesn't say no signal. None of that. I don't know if it's a setting in. I don't think it's a setting in the actual. Oh, my PlayStation was working, but this isn't. So maybe it's a setting. I don't know if it's a setting on. Oh, it's displaying at 1080. I wonder if that's what it was. My Xbox was displaying at 1080. That might have been what it was. Hang on. What the frick? I can't bump it to 1440? I bumped it to 1440 and the screen is black. It's not OBS. It's not OBS. The capture card is working. It's sending the signal to my monitor and it's sending audio. Well, it could send audio. Yeah, now I can't see anything. It just let me change the resolution, but now I can't see anything? Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, 144060. I'm trying a different capture card. Okay, let's try this again. It's a good thing I have multiple capture cards. All right, hang on. Advanced properties. Oh, why is the audio doing that? That's why I stopped using this capture card the other day. Yeah, now it's delayed. That's why I switched off this card. These cards are having issues. Daggone it. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Let's try this. It's, yeah, I'm not getting a picture for some reason. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm getting... I have it all set up properly, and I don't get anything. It's like, it doesn't make an ounce of sense. I've got it set up properly, and if I use the other capture card, I'm going to get the frickin'... I'm going to get all the audio delay. That's why I started using the new one. Is it the cable? But I'm using the exact same cables with the other one. I don't know if I lower it to 1080 if that'll fix it. No, changing the resolution completely breaks the cap card. Like, I never thought to test any of this because it worked fine just the other day. You know? Yeah, it worked for Orcs Must Die. Yeah, and now it's all delayed. I don't get why the audio gets delayed. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Okay, there. Okay, no audio delay. There we go. Okay. Golly. Why is it shaking? Sorry, everybody. That all should look really crisp with my new bitrate and AV1. I mean, I'm lucky I have this many capture cards, dude. That's like a third capture card that I'm trying to use. I'll turn up the brightness a bit for myself. State of play was mediocre. Okay. Okay, there we go. Right. Give me a second. I've got to use the restroom before we dive into this, and then we're gonna have to redirect. Okay. So you guys are gonna have to help me out here. Gameplay is not a mainstay on this channel, and sometimes we get like really, really great results from gameplay streams. So I am going to set the super chat goal over there as well. I will gift a member. So that's all done when we get over there. And then I will spam a link. Oh yeah, what's my controller battery at? Okay, it's full. There you go. We're going over there. You guys can go over now if you want. I'll be back and redirect you guys in just a second. Okay. Okay. Did the music stop? Sorry. I figured it would just keep playing. I apologize. I gotta send a tweet, and then I'm gonna redirect. That might give us something. Performance mode looks rough. That's in the day one patch. Should I check for a day one patch? Oh, there's not a day one yet. Oh, that's right. That's right. This isn't day one. We're playing early access. All right, I'm going to spam a link again, and then I'm going to start. Hey, thanks so much for checking out this video. I'm going to be diving in brand new to Avowed gameplay on the Xbox Series X. I will be using performance mode and third person. So if you're looking for Avowed gameplay, if you want to know about Avowed 60 FPS performance mode or Avowed third person gameplay, you're going to get that right here. Reviews are fine. They're not glowing. They're not bad. They're kind of in the middle, landing at like a solid 80 everywhere. Going to check it out for myself. Make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button so you're here for my daily discussions and weekly talks. You might get a membership. People have been going crazy. And I'm going to play this on Friday night with my wife for members. You're going to want to be here. We're going to have a Valentine's Day stream for you guys. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over.